really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Hey, mother... What do you like to do?
Oh, I don't know. Play chess. Screw.
Well, let's play chess.
They give off to Jonathan Taylor. Jump cutting his way. Close to the goal line. He's in there. Touchdown. I-N-D-Y. Jonathan Taylor.
Wheeler finds Quan from the logo.
Here's Halliburton into the front court. Mishandled it, but gets a shot. Hits it. Hits it.
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino. We are in Anderson today, one of our favorite spots and one of our favorite weekends. You can check us out inside the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. We are right as you walk in here at Harrah's Hoosier Park, and there is a ton of stuff going on. This is Kentucky Oaks Day. 6:45, that's underway. Live racing begins here at 6:15. Meantime, the Kentucky Derby coming up tomorrow, 6:55, and I'm assuming everybody wishes that they would run it today because it is going to be sloppy and muddy. At least that is how it has been explained to me. But I will say this. I thought today was going to be all wet and sloppy, and up here it's like sunny and 75 with a brisk wind here in early May. Actually, May the 2nd, as we are here on Derby weekend. To celebrate that, our good friend Tony Renz will join us coming up in a couple of minutes. We're going to go over exactly what you can get, what you can see, what you can win, and how you need to join us up here. Yeah, if not this afternoon, we would rather have that because we want to see you. But certainly, over the course of the afternoon, your presence is wished for from us here at Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino at Anderson. You know me. I don't know too much about horse racing, so I'm going to leave that up to Tony Renz. I'm going to leave that up to Gabe Puit, who's the general manager here. And a quick shout-out to longtime GM Rick Moore is still around the program, if you will, but he is more of in a consultation role, which I probably should stop making fun of consultants like right here and right now because of that. I know, listen, there are some good, even in radio there are some good consultants, but about 95% of them in radio don't know their ass from nothing. So that does not actually mean that all consultants don't know. So just so we're clear, I guess what I'm doing is I'm telling you about my love and friendship with Rick Moore, who we will not see today, but Gabe's going to be a first-timer on the show, and we cannot wait for that here in the 4 o'clock hour of a busy show with the news regarding Greg Popovich out of the NBA today. He will be in more of a team leadership presidential role after going through all the health issues of the past 8 or months or so. So that was the big news today. Last night, if you watched the NBA, you watched Detroit kind of screw it up at the end. They are going to be good in the future. There's no doubt about that. And you probably saw the video with Mike Breen talking about J.B. Bickerstaff constantly complaining, constantly griping. And remember, I told you that part of the reason why I felt during the regular season the Pistons acted like horses' asses here, no pun intended, because horse racing, but they acted like that against the Pacers in particular was because I thought their coach kind of set the pace on that. That's just kind of how he acts for the entirety of the game. But what you can't take away is the turnaround they had with that team this season. And as much as I like to dismiss Jalen Brunson because he hunts for fouls, and that drives me nuts. The whole head bobbing thing, constantly the fake-ass contact that he will give us to make sure that he gets the foul call. I mean, last night it happened too, and he got challenged and overturned. But as much as he does do all that, he is an elite-level NBA shot maker. And that, I think, all basketball fans out there recognize it. I wish some of the clownery, because he seems like a legit good dude, too. I wish some of the clownery with hunting for fouls and that flopping crap I wish that wouldn't come along with his game. But if you watched last night, that big three that was made, that was the end of the Pistons season. And now the Knicks moving on to the Eastern Conference semifinals. The other side of the Pacers and the Cavaliers will feature the Celtics and the Knicks. And I believe the Knicks are 0-4 on the season against the Celtics. But that should be fun. And Jalen Brunson is flat one of the elite-level shot makers in the NBA, without question. And you witnessed that again last night in that clincher on the road in Detroit. And if you hung up and watched out west, you saw the Clippers force a decisive Game 7 against the Denver Nuggets with a win last night in the Intuit Dome in front of the Wall. Yeah, a really fun game to watch, up and down. That Clipper team's kind of interesting because we saw them obviously a couple of times this year, and one of the times we saw them, they were kind of in a mess. If you remember, going back to late January, early February on the road out there. I think that was a game in which Miles sat out, but they looked kind of like a mess, but certainly much better right now and got help all the way around. And certainly it helps when Kawhi Leonard is healthy and playing, which during the regular season, that does not often happen. But talk about that. Talk about the Rockets and the Golden State Warriors coming up later on tonight in San Francisco with an opportunity for the Warriors to move on as well. So we'll talk about that. Also, the weekend coming up on Sunday, you've got the Pacers on the road against the Cavaliers. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up as well. Should be interesting. Game number one, just how much you believe in this team, because this is going to be a test. And I saw Tyrese Halliburton talking about it. It is going to be an absolute test. He talked about the rebounding factor. Somebody mentioned yesterday on the show, I think it was Bill. Bill called up and said, hey, what you have to do is you have to win the boards. You have to win the glass. Now, that would help, don't get me wrong. I just don't think they're going to win the boards nor win the glass. But what cannot happen is you cannot take a beating on the glass on both ends. You cannot give them extra opportunities. You cannot get whipped on the boards. So you can still lose and win if that makes sense to you. But you cannot have them treat you badly with, 12 or 10, whatever, more boards than what you get. So you cannot get outdistanced in that fashion. That, to me, when you're talking about the board work, is one of the bigger things that you have to look at. I think the Pacers, again, can still win if they hang in there and keep it close, which would also mean and factor in that they would have to be better themselves at doing that. So we'll look for that coming up with game number one on Sunday. That conversation with Tony East will happen coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Tony East on a variety of things, too. We'll watch the health day-to-day for Darius Garland. He is one of the two high-level guards that they have, along with Donovan Mitchell. We've talked about the past couple of days exactly how the Pacers are going to handle that defensively. Or are they going to end up going Nesmith on Mitchell, Nembhard on Garland? We're going to see Nesmith, like he did against Milwaukee, play the big a little bit. He got a lot of opportunity defensively against Giannis in that first-round series. Might he get a little bit of that as well, I should say, against Mobley? Coming up against the Cavaliers, Allen and Miles makes a lot of sense. And Max Strus and Halliburton, at least for Halliburton defensively, also makes a great deal of sense. And the other thing that we have talked about as far as this series is concerned is the reemergence that is so necessary of Benedict Mathurin. There were a number of feel-goods. In fact, I think you can go along and look at the Pacers team-wise, and I think you're feeling pretty good about that first-round series with nearly everybody. But if one name does pop up, is it not fair to say that it's Benedict Mathurin, that you're hoping for more from Benedict Mathurin? In fact, not just hoping for more against the Cavaliers, but let's face it, that is essential. We talk about him in terms all the time of being the one guy that you feel that if he needs to go get it, can go get it. What he can't be is a detriment, as he was in that clinching Game 5. He was flat awful. He was awful. He was trying to get it, but in trying to get it, he was dribbling off his foot and mishandling. You have to have the Matherin that we all felt good about in the regular season, that we felt could give them that edge, that angle that, let's face it, they don't particularly have. This is a team, and he has that quality for the team. Normally, this team is at its best when they work together, and guys play off of guys to get their own. Matherin can be an exception to that rule, meaning he can go out and get his, but let's just face it, he can't look like he did in what we saw in game number 5. So when we're looking around at all the things that need to fall into place, because Cleveland off the bench, whether you're talking about Ty Jerome or Sam Merrill or DeAndre Hunter they got in that midseason deal from the Hawks, certainly made them a lot better. And he's a difference maker, too, on both ends. So they can match basically what the Pacers have as an edge as well. So if you're the Pacers, you have to have your guys hitting on all cylinders here. And Matherin, I think, has to be chief among those moving forward in this series. There are a lot of things. Let's just face it. You're going to have a lot of what we witnessed in round number 1, and that was good. I mean, everybody, you can pick and choose and find in different areas where the Pacers had high-level production and output. That was necessary in round number 1. It's going to be entirely different, though. And you felt comfortable in a lot of different areas against the Pacers, especially when Milwaukee had to challenge even more and go deeper in their bench. You felt really good. This is going to be different because the Cavaliers can match and then oftentimes overcome what the Pacers have. And again, normally that is their advantage. That is their edge. In this, it is certainly a hell of a lot more even. But I'll start with Benedict Mather. And Tony East and I discussed that coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. I mentioned Mike Wells. I think fresh off of wherever Mike Wells was this past weekend. We'll dive into a little bit of that coming up in the 4 o'clock hour as well. Mike Chappell, who was a bit under the weather yesterday, he's going to join us. We have talked to, I think on this show, Tyler Warren, number 14 overall from last Thursday, the tight end out of Penn State. We talked to Jalen Travis, the offensive tackle of both Iowa State for 1 year and then Princeton, who was an incredibly interesting conversation, and Tim Smith, the 6th-round defensive lineman out of Alabama, who was really good on the show yesterday. So we have covered a lot of those different angles, but sooner rather than later, and it's going to be endless, and it's going to drive you nuts. But we can't help it because that's the situation in which we're in. Do you know what we're talking about? We're, of course, talking about the quarterback competition. That's what they call it, and that's what they're going to get. That's the type of coverage they're going to get from us, and it's going to be endless. It's going to drive you nuts because part of the angle on this is you are going to get sick and tired of hearing about it. And then you're going to get sick and tired of hearing about it because we're talking about 2 lower level, much lower level productive guys, meaning you're thinking, why are you having that conversation with 2 dudes that aren't any good? Well, face it, because we're talking about the Colts right now. But that's the situation. You have a quarterback competition, and it is going to be all summer long. It is going to go. It is going to drive. Just get ready. It is going to drive you nuts. Absolutely nuts. So please be prepared for that. Mike Chappell and I will discuss coming up a little bit later on as far as that is concerned. Good times to be had by all here at Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. I mentioned Mike Chappell, and then we got Mike Wells as well coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. But joining us, let's go ahead and bring him up right now. It's an old friend of the show, Tony Renz, who joins us right here at Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. How you doing, Tone?
John, I am fantastic. It's always great to have you here. As they say in Indy, this is May. And before we get to car racing, we got a little horse racing, the Oaks, the Derby. We have Colts, we have Pacers running here. tonight.
You
at
do,
Hoosier
indeed.
Park.
And we got beer drinking going on here right now, which is also good from the host of this show.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, pal.
Absolutely. We're sitting here looking at the sports book. You've got horse racing, IndyCar down at Barber.
You do? Barber, yeah, we got that.
I mean, where else can you be better? I'm sitting there drinking Larceny Cast Strength.
Shout out to Brett Holverson and Randy Strand. See you, Rob Albright in the house right there. Hey, Rob, you're looking fantastic, brother. Well done. I'm proud of you. You know that. It's our good friend Rob Albright right there. So where do we begin with this?
You know, today's Oaks Day.
Yeah.
It's the day for the ladies, the fillies. That race is going to go off somewhere around 6 p.m. tonight. I think I looked at that purse. It's $1.25 million is the purse.
That's not bad.
That's not bad for a horse race. You'll have a good crowd here today. You already see a lot of people have been here all day betting the races. We start at 6:15 with live horse racing here at Hoosier Park. We do it right now Wednesday through Saturday every week. Tomorrow, I think they're opening the doors at 9 a.m. You'll see people here right when the doors open.
Now, is it going to be kind of the apparel that you would see at Churchill Downs, too?
They have a hat contest. You'll see the dresses. You'll see the hats. You'll see the mint juleps. You'll see the bourbon, the larceny flowing. That's one thing that we have to mention. Hoosier Park has taken their bourbon level up.
Well, tell us a little bit about the bourbon level being taken to a different level.
That's our good friend Gene Sissel. He has become the bourbon connoisseur over there. And, it's everything from Larceny Cast Strength to Elijah Craig Toasted. It's all that Heaven Hill upper level.
Have we had the Heaven Hill grain to glass yet?
I have had that.
Oh,
that is
let me tell you. And there's one with rye, too.
That is
I always take the advice of the great Jim Romanak, that is Romy, who suggests that if you want to get there quicker, between that and the 126 Larceny, and I have a little bit of experience on that now, that'll get you there before you need to be on time, if that makes sense to you right
Absolutely.
there. It does, and it gets you there in a great way.
Tomorrow's a marathon, so you don't want to jump into that too early. You want that to be your nightcap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it will get you to. I've said this about the new Larceny. What is that? Is it 120?
It's 126. I think
126.
Yeah.
That is perfect for your outdoor backyard pool parties and stuff in the summertime. When you're not going anywhere, you're just going to hang there.
Yeah.
Because that is, just put a floaty around yourself and just hang out.
There you go.
Sit on the step in your pool or whatever. Sit on your back deck. That is a hanging one right there for sure. Love it.
Absolutely. Tomorrow's going to be a little sloppy down in Louisville.
Yep.
But if you're in the Indy area, come out to Anderson. It's going to be beautiful here. The drinks will be flowing. The dresses will be flowing. The bets will be going.
Love it.
Bourbon to be poured.
Love it. All right. So people that might be asking about a couple of different things here. Tony Renz joins us again. We're at Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino at Anderson. 6:45 for the Kentucky Oaks. That's the fillies racing coming up this evening. Any thoughts on that for those out there that would like to go ahead and maybe motivate themselves to win a little bit in wagering?
Let me come back on the final hour. I got to study that one. I've been paying attention to the Derby so much.
Okay, well, we'll wait for the Oaks in the final hour, which makes sense because that's basically like an hour before that is officially underway. Live betting 6:15 right here at Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino. How about the Kentucky Derby then? We know it's going to be wet and muddy. Even though this was not – I didn't think this was the forecast we were supposed to get today. It is awesome up here. Now, I will say this. In southern Indiana, my mom said it rained like hell today, and it's been really wet up here. It looks fantastic. So the effect of the Kentucky Derby coming up tomorrow, wet, chilly, rainy all day. What are we looking at?
It's going to be windy also. You got to throw that windy in there. That's a big factor in horse racing and how hard that wind's blowing. I started studying on Monday. At that time, it was going to be 70 and sunny on Saturday, but now it's 60 and sloppy. But I still think Sovereignty is the horse to beat out there. You're going to get some good odds. I think you're going to get probably like 5-6 to 1 on that horse. And then you take a look at American Promise. That one's going to be about 10-12 to 1.
American Promise.
That's a D. Wayne Lucas horse. D. Wayne is 89 years old.
Incredible.
He's won 6 Derbies in his lifetime, and he'd like to finish his career off with one more.
So is he going to keep going after this?
I think he keeps going.
Right?
He's out there riding his own horse and training his horses. So he's 89 and still going.
And remind folks, too, if they want to catch it, and obviously they want to catch it here. We're talking about what we're going to be doing here later on today, Tony, but also tomorrow is going to be a big day, too. You mentioned the apparel, the hats, the mint juleps, and all that goes into a celebration on a Saturday around here, the Kentucky Derby.
It will be crowded, so I suggest getting here early. Early to me would be about 11 a.m., noon. Racing starts down at Churchill Downs at 10:30 a.m. is the first post down there. But I would suggest getting here about 11 a.m., noon. It's going to be crowded. You want to grab a good seat. They've got good food over in the clubhouse area. I know they've got a buffet. They've got a couple tables over there left that you can grab in. You got the Pegasus up here like we talked about with the bourbon flowing. It's going to be a big day and a lot of people and a lot of excitement.
And people can just grab food here, too, of any kind, correct?
It's a one-stop shop. And then once you win all that racing money, you head down to the casino.
Why not?
You get
right
on the
there.
table games.
Why not? And how many years have the table games been there, too?
The table games got here in 2020.
See, has it really been 5 years now? Because I remember the impact that they had. And what's up, buddy? It was interesting, too, because we had other stuff going on in the world at that moment, too, but the impact that had, and I'm assuming you guys have seen an uptick of incredible nature over there, haven't you?
It keeps growing. You know, it opened January 1st of 2020, and then I think you were here for New Year's Eve.
I was, yeah.
And we went into the COVID shutdown, and I think everyone kind of forgot about it, so it's taken a couple years to catch on that we do have tables. There's craps, there's blackjack, there's roulette, there's 7-card stud over there, you name it, they've got it. So tables, I think last time I looked, there's 20 or 30 tables.
Yeah, wow. That's Tony Renz right there. One more time, explain to folks what time the live racing begins, and you have the Kentucky Oaks coming at you later on tonight.
Tonight, you begin at 6:15 with live racing, Harrah, Hoosier Park. Tomorrow night's 4 p.m., a special post for the Derby. They'll race 6, take a break for the Derby, and race 6 after the Derby. You got the Oaks tonight at 6:45. Tomorrow night, the Derby is at 6:55.
Man, oh, man. It is a heck of a time to be up here. And by the way, too, the Caesar Sportsbook is here. And we were talking about this before we hit a break. We got to bring it up. If you want to come up and watch games, this is a place to watch games. You got absolutely everything right here, don't you?
There's no question whether you got the Dish Network,
right,
the YouTube, whatever. They've got the game on every night here.
It is a beautiful thing indeed. That's Tony Renz right there, everybody. He's going to rejoin us with some Kentucky Oaks information in the 5 o'clock hour at some point. Is that cool?
Yes, sir.
Tony Renz right there. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Dev's the on-site engineer. We got Kev and Chris up in here, too. This is an annual event, the weekend, the Friday, in fact, of the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby weekend. We're at Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. You do know what that means. By the way, I just leaned back and got out of the picture of the AAA membership lounge right there, but I am here. You guys can check that out. You can listen and be involved in the show as well. We've got a loaded one for you coming up on the other side. So my advice, do not go anywhere. Also, how much fun we're going to have on Cinco de Mayo. Remember, this is going to be back-to-back days on the road. Next Monday, that's Cinco de Mayo, we're going to be at the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema on the west side, just off of Lafayette and Georgetown Road. It is, count on this, awesome. And you'll have the Delara, I almost mispronounced that. Actually, I did. The Delara Race Simulator that is going to be absolutely free for you to wheel while we're there coming up on Monday. That's Cinco de Mayo at the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema. Georgetown, Lafayette Road, right there in that general vicinity. In fact, it is the old Cub Foods building. But you will not believe what this place offers, and I'll see you all there coming up on Monday. All right, 239-1070 is the number if you guys want to jump on board. A lot of different angles regarding the Pacers and the Cavaliers start coming up on Monday of their Eastern Conference semifinals. You got a Warriors opportunity coming up later on tonight. We got a lot more for you right here. Some other NBA news, some Major League Baseball. Just a great time to be around to Barber this weekend and IndyCar, that and more coming up. Do not go anywhere. The stream, the app, HD Radio, the AAA Membership Lounge. That's Matt and Matt, the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. his eyes were dilated. His pupils were dilated.
Oh.
And I said, is it the same way that James dilates his pupils every weekend? This sounds like Ambrosia, James. Great re-entry today. JMV Takeover tomorrow night, 6 until midnight on B105.7. I will catch you all there. A little Yacht Rock Classic right here from the California group known as Ambrosia. Hey, by the way, too, as we get closer and closer, Dev and I were just talking about this, the engineering angle. Remember on race weekend, and I'm talking about the Indy 500 weekend, the Saturday night JMV Takeover, from a bronze fun time camper in the Coke lot. And you guys are all invited. I would love to see absolutely everybody out there. It is going to be a blast. More on that. And our guests, we will have very special guests live at our Bronze Fun Time camper in the Coke lot, the JMV Takeover, the night before the greatest spectacle in racing. So just hang out. Make sure you're listening to the show because I want you all to be a part of it. My God, you guys, we all need fun. And if I have to be the Pied Piper of fun, by God, then I'm going to be that every single time. So be ready. Meantime, with the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, he's the Pied Piper of Beach Grove, of Colts information and yard mowing. Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59 is with us. Hello, Mike. How are you?
Pretty good. I just got done mowing my property, so that's 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I'm a whip puppy, and if somebody wants to buy 5.5 acres in Beach Grove, give me a call.
Now, wait a minute. Oh, real? Now, what is it again? I'm sorry. 2 puppies, you say?
5.5 acre, 2 plots, my wife and her brother, and if somebody wants to buy nice property in Beach Grove, give me a call.
Oh, okay. Proper. If you want to buy, so you say 5 acres is what you're saying right now in Beach Grove.
5.5, not quite 6, yeah.
I gotcha.
Plots. So, you know.
So, are you mowing that with a 0 radius mower, or are you pushing it?
No, hell no, I'm pushing. I've got a Troy built, and no, it's not a 0
Nice.
turn. It takes me about 2.5 hours, and then you trim. So, you know,
Yeah.
I'm tired of doing it. It looks nice, but I'm tired of doing it.
I'm rocking a Spartan, and it takes me about 45 minutes to do 5 acres of mine. So I love it.
I have no
Absolutely love it.
I have no intention of upgrading my mower when I'm trying to get rid of the property.
Yeah, I completely understand that. That's economically sound from Mike Chappell of CBS 4
Exactly.
and Fox 59. Hey, so before I get to the draft, the effects and the remnants of that from last week, are you prepared? Because I tried to prep the listeners and Colts fans out there for there's going to be the constant, because this is now supposed to be a quarterback competition. It is going to be an endless summer. Anytime the Colts are together and these guys are out there, of nothing but that. And I know normally the quarterback position is rotten, full of publicity, right or wrong, good or bad. But this is going to take it with these two dudes to a different level over the summer. I just wanted to make sure everybody was prepared accurately just for that.
Oh, there's no question. And we sort of make jokes because we're going to chart passes during 7-on-7, 11-on-11. And we're going to know what Richardson did and what Jones did. And people might get tired of it, but this is where we are with the team. It's something created because Richardson hasn't advanced like they hoped he would. So, yeah, and this is going to be the story all season. Shane Steichen's going to say, this guy is our starter for now. And as soon as that guy struggles, we're going to be saying, well, you're thinking about going to the other guy. I mean, barring injury, of course. So it's unfortunate. Open competition is a great thing on a team. It is. Not at quarterback. It's not great to have open competition at quarterback.
Was Ted Marchibroda the first person to say if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any? My brother, thank you very much. Was he the first one to coin that phrase, or was that prior to?
Well, he's the first one that I got it from. And that's back when he had, who did he have? He had Harbaugh, and then he had Blair Keel and guys.
Paul Justin. Where's Paul Justin in that? Yeah.
I tell you, he had a couple of great games. He really did.
He did.
But
he did. Yeah.
When you have instability, it's not a good thing. This team went through that after luck, and it's just impossible to grow as a team when you don't know who your quarterback is. And as we sit here today, we don't know who the quarterback is in 2026. So and that's why this season's going to be such a determining factor about what you do moving forward. But this is where they are. They have to focus on this year, and it's going to be the predominant issue every week.
So Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59 also has property for sale, 5 acres or close to it in Beech Grove. He joins us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. And I tell you what makes it worse is certainly the history here at quarterback since Luck did what he did. The lack of really doing anything productive, certainly, and the fact that neither one of these guys have really done jack squat in their time in the NFL. I mean, it's almost like it's the lowest of the low that we're gauging over the course of the summer, and I think that makes really the entire equation seem even worse than it is.
Well, and again, it's going to be interesting how they decide, what they use to decide. I think if it's a tie, it goes to Richardson. I think if it's 60-40, it goes to Richardson. They really need him to be the guy. But again, I don't know how they're going to do this, whether it's going to be training camp, whether it's going to be 2 preseason games. I think with our eyes, we'll know who we think should be the guy. I just think in their evaluation, gosh, they have to lean towards Richardson because of everything that's gone into him being here, 4th pick, and all the time and effort and development. But if he's not the guy, they're not going to force him. If he's obviously beaten out by Daniel Jones, they'll go with Daniel Jones. They owe that to DeForest Buckner, Jonathan Taylor, Quentin Nelson, the rest of the players. They've got to go with the guy that gives them the best chance. If that's not Anthony Richardson, then the future looks pretty bleak because then I don't know what you do at the position.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to – and the thing of it is you're probably not going to be bad enough to legitimately be able to get the top pick in the draft to pick and choose from, whomever it is. I know a lot of people have, obviously put stock into Arch Manning. Who knows? But anyway, you're probably not going to be that bet. You're still kind of stuck in this no man's land territory right here until further notice that really serves zero purpose except for disappointment.
Well, I think this is a good roster. I think that if they get moderate quarterback play, they're going to win 7 or 8 games. And then, like you said, then they're drafting 14, 15, 16. And I could see a scenario where Daniel Jones or Richardson plays well. They go 10 and 7. And then, again, like you said, you're not in a position to get a quarterback. So they've got to get it solved. And the only thing that makes any sense is for Richardson to step forward, stay healthy, and be efficient. Throw bombs, of course. That's what he does. But complete 3rd and 6 and move the chains. If they do that, then they've got a chance to do something going forward. If not, it's going to be a bleak 3 or 4 years because that's how long it takes to reload a quarterback.
So Mike Chappell of CBS 4, Fox 59, he's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. What type of strides do you think they're making at place kicker here, besides just cutting a guy that couldn't hit it over 50? Like, I know you cut a guy that couldn't hit it over 50, but now you got a couple of guys that nobody can believe in because you really haven't seen anything yet. So, yeah, I guess until we see it, there's really not much to believe. But are you skeptical about the decisions they made at that position here moving forward, or did it make altogether a lot of sense to you, Mike?
I think it made a lot of sense simply because when you don't trust your kicker to kick 50-yarders, it just hampers your play calling and your aggression when you get around midfield or the 40. And it was proven. I mean, he was 11 for 25, 11 for 22 on 50 yards, and he was 7 of 18 after the 4 for 4 in Baltimore. And they simply couldn't go forward like that. The problem is, Spencer Schrader's not shown that type of distance because it's such a small sample size. And the undrafted rookie has got a strong leg, but he's never kicked at this level. So it was just obvious that they were not going to go forward with the guy they didn't trust, and they were willing to go on the very, very small sample size of Spencer Schrader. And again, we sort of say, well, he's just a kicker. Well, but how many games come down to that one possession, to that field goal, either early or late? And if you can't trust your guy to take a 53-yarder, which they couldn't do, you had to move on.
All right, my couple things in closing here. If they go out and maybe target somebody with name recognition, as far as the roster is concerned, as an addition to compete coming up this summer, I would suggest maybe it's along the interior, that offensive line, somebody we've heard of. Is there another position that stands out to you as well, or would you agree with that assessment as far as what may be necessary, especially with the interior of the offensive line?
Well, yes, they'll probably add an interior guy, but people don't let good linemen go, and good linemen normally are out there. The one spot they still haven't addressed is weak side linebacker with easy speed. The draft didn't let him do it, and right now you've got Zaire Franklin and Jalen Carlisle, and that's it. And there's a bunch of guys you don't know, so they're really, really thin at linebacker. I think their priority in the offseason is to find a weak side linebacker, and there's probably one out there that they like. I've not looked at the list. I certainly expect them to find a linebacker. You cannot go into the season with this group of linebackers. It just won't work. They had a lot of holes to fill. I would say that they, like on my top 5 list of off-season concerns, they took care of 4 of them. They simply haven't been able to do linebacker yet.
Well, I mean, it seems obviously that maybe Lou Anarumo is not, maybe he's obviously not really too keen on caring about too much depth at linebacker. And I guess in closing here, Mike, where I'm going with this, do you believe in the philosophy direction defensively? And I know that there was a time when in Cincinnati, man, they were really good. But when they weren't and they lost a body or two, they were pretty awful. Where are you as far as the direction they're going defensively right now with the philosophy in mind of Lou Anarumo?
Optimistic. We'll talk to the coordinators on Wednesday, I think, so we'll get a better idea. But they've given him a starting corner, a starting safety, which is going to help immensely. And again, I like the group that's back. But when they say, well, maybe we play a lot of 2 linebackers and an extra DB, that's fine. But you still need competition at weak side linebacker. Jalen Carlisle, he played okay as a rookie, but he played like 7 or 8 games. Sometimes when you try to get creative with your scheme, it's because you haven't got the personnel to do it another way. So I think all things being equal, they would like a better linebacker group than what they've got. I never like it when a coordinator has to change his approach because he doesn't have enough personnel to do what he wants to do.
So Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59 on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Glad you're feeling better. We'll see if we can't get that nearly 5 acres of Beech Grove property sold for you and find out where we are regarding that. Yeah, I'll help you. I'll help you out.
There'll be a little something for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hell yeah, right there. It's Mike Chappell at CBS 4 and Fox 59. Mike, thank you.
Have a good weekend.
You too. Mike Chappell, we're at Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson, the Kentucky Oaks tonight at 6:45. Of course, the Kentucky Derby coming. Let me make sure I get that right. 6:45 tonight for the Oaks. Derby tomorrow at 6:55. And as I hit a break, I'm not even going to tease this. We are the new home of the Indiana Fever. Shout out to everybody that's well above me in basically talent, decision-making prowess, and everything else that goes into it. But the Indiana Fever will be on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan coming up this season. So a shout-out to Andrea and Michelle and Jeff and David. And probably the best thing they did was keep me completely out of any of the decision-making possibilities right there. But no, that's cool. Now, Fever, since we're the home, you have to get some of your players on this show. Where's Sophie Cunningham? Oh, we're waiting for Sophie Cunningham, Fever. Now we're the home. Let's be the home. The home of the Fever. Well done by everybody around here. Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. Quick break. We'll come back. We got a loaded 4 o'clock hour, too. Some insight on the Derby, some insight on the Oaks, Tony East, Mike Wells, all that and more still to come. Sit tight. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hi, I'm John. Look at my face. This sounds like Kool and the Gang. This is also known as a Yacht Rock staple, a classic. James, this is Too Hot on B105.7. I hit the post on that bad boy, too. Tomorrow night, you might hear this on B105.7, the JMV Takeover. How you doing, sir? Good to see you. Great. Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson, the Kentucky Oaks. Post time 5:51. That's race number 11 is what it says right here. Is that, hold on, 6:45 for the Oaks? I think I have it right here as well. But on the odds right here in front of you, you got the Oaks tonight, the Kentucky Derby coming up tomorrow, 6:45. Now the Oaks, the Phillies. Live racing begins here at 6:15. Kentucky Derby tomorrow, 6:55. And I believe 4 o'clock is when the live racing gets underway. However, Tony Renz, our good friend, did inform us a little bit earlier that if you're going to get here, 11 o'clock is a hell of a time to get here. To make sure you've got a spot. Because we are ready to rock this weekend with the Kentucky Derby. All right, quick shout out. I know a lot of people are going to be performing in the mini marathon. Listen, I get it. I do. I don't make fun. I just kind of question why you enjoy running. If it's playing basketball, it's one thing, but like running distance like that tomorrow, have fun if you're doing it, and especially if you have a specific reason to do it. The mini marathon tomorrow, a Rev tomorrow night. James, you going to Rev? You going to put your man bun up and go to Rev in a tuxedo tomorrow night? You doing that?
Oh, you know that's exactly what I'm doing.
Man bun, get yourself a date, going to Rev. That's James tomorrow night. You know who's never been to Rev? Me. I did one time go to Zubilation, and I hated every second of it, and I'll never go again. Because I mean, they were good people, fun. I like helping out the zoo. But it was hot as hell in a tuxedo, and that's when I used to eat, James, and everything I got was in like a thimble. They go, hey, here's your thimble of lobster. You ever have a thimble of lobster before?
I can't say that I have.
Thimble of lobster over the trash can because there's no place to sit at the zoo. There you go. It was like 95 degrees, too.
I just can't imagine you in a tuxedo.
Yeah, man, and really, it was the fat tuxedo, too. It was the, what size do you need? Oh, the fat-ass tuxedo. Okay, that's the one you need? We're going to give you that one right there. Listen, I am proud to help this. I love the zoo. Absolutely love it. Zubilation was not my bag. I don't know about Rev tomorrow night, but enjoy that. I know a lot of you are going to go. Let me take a break and come back. Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. Gabe Puit is somewhat new, but has great experience. The general manager here. We'll talk to Gabe coming up here in the 4 o'clock hour as well. Mike Wells, bottom. Tony East, 5 o'clock hour. Chad Buchanan re-racked in the 6. We got you covered on this Friday. Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino. We're in Anderson today. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
with JMV.
If somebody gets in your face and calls you a I want you to be nice.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, shout out to the shop in Broad Ripple and Carmel with the JMV Carb Day tea tradition coming up here, too. I'll let you know when that is unleashed upon you, general public. That's Sir Cliff Richard right there. It's funny. He was even bigger going way back into the 60s right there. James, you got to say a little re-entry yacht rock kick going on today. I think I can dig it right here.
Yeah, that's
You're
kind
making
of
a lot of friends.
That's kind of how it looks like it's going today.
Yeah, I don't mind it whatsoever. Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson, the Kentucky Oaks. 6:45 tonight. Tony Red's joined us a little bit earlier. I know Gabe Puit is a new general manager here. He's got a lot of experience. He's going to join us a little bit more about the Oaks tonight and the Derby coming up tomorrow on what to expect here at Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. Grande scratched from the Derby, so the field for the 151st edition is at 19 horses coming up at 6:55. That is tomorrow for the Kentucky Derby. And you can check it out right here. You can dress up, do all that you want, have a fantastic time. It's coming up tomorrow. Of course, Pacers, Cavaliers, game 1 on Sunday. Conversation with Tony East in the 5 o'clock hour. I think that we prepared you rather well on what to expect. Now, I know that there are probably a lot of people out there on the fence. And I think with good reason, because Cleveland's really good. I am curious. I asked this yesterday. I think Dustin DePurac was on the show. I asked him. I didn't really ask you this, and I will right now. And maybe this is all dependent upon exactly how they play in this series. But if you go back a year ago, they go all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I know that was massively disappointing against Boston getting swept. Now, also, is that Gabe right there? We got to get Gabe on the show. Hey, John, can Gabe sit down right there just for a second? We'll talk to Gabe. Let me finish my thought on this because I did want to get some people on with their thoughts at 239-1070. But given the fact they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, even in a sweep a year ago, to the eventual NBA champions, if they don't make it out of the Eastern Conference semifinals, will you, Pacer fans, view this as a disappointment? Now, granted, there are different levels of disappointment. You can be disappointed. Damn, I'm disappointed they're not still playing. Okay. But I mean, yeah, you know what? We thought this was going to be better. Or disappointed in the whole run-it-back approach, which I was a tremendous fan. In fact, I think they did it because I was a big fan of it. They didn't. But do you view this as a disappointing season if they go out in the Eastern Conference semifinals? Or if they do lose, if they don't advance, is it how they end up playing one of the best teams, if not the second best team, let's just say, in the NBA over the regular season? How will you view it if they don't advance? 239-1070. Your thoughts on that? I thought I would go ahead and lob that out to you. We'll do it on the other side. The AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. And a shout-out to Matt Godbout. I had lunch with him at Parks Place Pub. Shout-out to Matt Sleater, Matt Whitlow. We were all out there today having a great time in Fisher's Parks Place Pub, getting some stuff together for further notice that I can explain to you again at further notice. But it was pretty awesome to hang out with everybody earlier today. A shout out to all the Matts. If Matt Goins was there, it would have like been 4 Matts with me. But shout out to all the Matts I was with at Parks Place a little bit earlier. And, of course, the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live, as we're about ready to fire up the season at Ruoff coming up as well. And you know the drill with AAA becoming a member and what you can do out there as well. Meantime, joining us here, he is kind of brand new, I guess, to Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. South Florida Lexington, Kentucky in the past. This is a guy that knows a lot about a lot here, horse racing-wise and otherwise. Gabe Puit is the general manager. He joins us now. So, Gabe, can we reference you as new? Are you
very new? Very new this season. Well, right slightly before we kicked off on March 14th.
Oh, so you haven't been here very long.
1st of March.
You've got a Kentucky accent rocking right there,
yes,
too.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Man.
I'm born and bred in Central Kentucky. So
where
but I'm adopting the Pacers here. I'm trying this playoff run.
Well,
I've got a condo downtown Indy. You know, it's all part of the scene. It's been fun. So, I'm adopting the Pacers.
Okay. So, Central Kentucky where? Are you from Horse Cave?
Lexington.
Oh, that's Central. Is that Central Kentucky?
Absolutely. Dead center.
Is that South Central Kentucky?
No, that's center. That's center.
Where's Horse Cave? Is that Central?
I believe that's more in Eastern Kentucky.
No, it's not. It's down 65.
Yeah, I did make that. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
You didn't think you were going to get tested on geography here, did you?
I thought I could come out confident there and for you. But,
I know my Commonwealth roads and geography right there for sure. So Lexington, Kentucky, does that make you a fan of the Cats?
A University of Kentucky graduate.
Oh, my
I
God.
could throw a baseball and hit Rupp Arena from my condo in downtown Lexington. So, yes, I am tried and true. You can't I can't adopt any college sports teams up here, but I'm doing my best.
I tell you what, right now we have a listener, and he's a longtime listener, a friend of mine named Jason Bush. We call him Blue Ball. For that reason, I think. But he is incredibly aroused right now because you're talking about Kentucky Wildcat basketball and being a lover of that program on this show. There is an arousal.
I could talk about that all day. I don't want to hurt your ratings, though.
It's all right. It's weird, man, because there has been with Calipari, going back to Pitino, and with Billy Clyde and all that. There's always been that hatred, but with Mark Pope, it's a little bit different because Pope also spent some time here with the Pacers, and it's a little bit different rivalry-wise. Which, by the way, Reese Sparks coming up this year.
Yes,
with Pope
can't wait for that. Yeah, that's
with Darren DeVries.
That's big time. Big time. You guys, I think, head in the right direction. I think a lot of excitement around that program. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm going through the same thing because Louisville, who is the easiest team for me to hate in the world, Pat Kelsey. I think he's kind of a cool guy that's got Louisville headed the right way. So I still hate them. Don't get me wrong, but they're just harder to hate than they used to be.
Yeah, no. Pat Kelsey's wild man too.
he's doing a great job.
It's funny when I think about coaches that are perfect for what they're doing in this era of college basketball or college athletics in general. He's like on the poster. I mean, just a wild-ass man who's going to go nuts and utilize the social media and doesn't give a damn, probably doesn't sleep, probably doesn't hang out anywhere. He's coaching basketball, trying to bring in players, and that's it. That's all that is on his mind.
Odd story about him. He was at Churchill Downs, I believe it was yesterday, but he was with Kenny McPeak, who won the Kentucky Oaks. He had the Kentucky Oaks winner last year and the Kentucky Derby winner. And Kenny's in a split household. His wife is a huge Louisville fan. He's a huge Kentucky fan. So they took the picture with Coach Kelsey, and Kenny McPeak was giving the L's down. You had the photo.
If this sounds like I'm talking to Matt Jones of Kentucky Sports Radio, I'm not. Yeah. Hey, I got to tell you. So, and I know people will say, well, you always bring up Christian Watford in that shot. I think in 2011, right? Christian Watford, the shot at IU.
I believe that was correct.
I saved the life of Matt Jones of Kentucky Sports Radio. This is a true story. Me and Michael Grady, who used to be at our station, now does ESPN. He does ESPN calls of NBA games, and he's the voice of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And you can see how I moved on. He went to Greater Heights, and my ass is still sitting right here. But we were at the IU-Kentucky game during that moment, and when Watford hit that shot, the fans go on the floor. Matt Jones was right behind us and fell in the bleachers and was getting trampled, man. He was getting trampled. So I had to pull him up. Wow. So I take credit in saving the life of Matt Jones.
Wow.
In that moment right there.
About that,
that is a true story. Do you go on with him, too? Do you know him?
No, I do know him just slightly. Not a lot. And I go to his KS bar. He's right there in Lexington. It's actually near the racetrack that I just came from, the Red Mile, right downtown. So I see him on occasion. He'll do trivia and whatnot there. So I'll have to get his life.
I saved his life. No, he may not give me an ounce of credit for it, but, man, I saved his life.
Seems
in
like
that
it'd be
moment.
tough to forget.
He was getting trampled during that moment. Hey, how do you like the transition from Lexington to here?
Very cool. I think beautiful facility here at Hoosier Park. I invite everyone that's been a customer in the past or hopefully a customer in the future to come on out and join us. Quality racing product here. We race 160 live days. We get a fantastic first-class sports book. We got all the action you could want, in a beautiful casino as well. So it's a really cool property. that's what was intriguing me to make the move. So it's been great. Go back and forth to Kentucky a little bit, but I've gotten settled in downtown Indy. It's a great city downtown, and I'm enjoying that part as well.
Because most people think, obviously the epicenter, Louisville or Lexington of horse racing, so people would ask, all right, so what makes Harrah's Hoosier Park so special from somebody that certainly would know the ins and the outs of what you do, where normally people think if there's an epicenter, that is it where you were.
Well, this is a first-class harness racing facility. We race 160 live days. I would tell you that over the landscape of North America, you're looking at probably 25, 30 harness tracks out there. And we are number 2 or number 3. We're trying to work a lot more towards number 2 in terms of overall handle bet on this product on a nightly basis. So it's really a major signal in the world of harness racing. And same thing could be said for Horseshoe Indianapolis down the road in Shelbyville. And then Thoroughbred World, they've switched to more of a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday type schedule, weekday schedule where they're a big fish on some of those days. There's not many tracks racing, so the
are you guys partners at all, or
we are? Yeah.
Okay.
Both owned by Caesars, and do a lot of work with those guys. At one point in time, you're probably familiar. They used to race both breeds at each track.
They did.
They would just literally switch the track service over, and the thoroughbreds run on about an 8-inch higher cushion than harness racing, so it's very costly to change those track surfaces over. So at some point, several years back, they went to all thoroughbreds at the Horseshoe Indianapolis, all harness racing here at Hoosier.
Gabe Puit is the new general manager of Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. He has big shoes to fill because Rick Moore was an absolute stud. Normally, I make fun of consultants, but now that he's in a consulting role, I will no longer make fun of it, at least on today. But he is a great dude, and I've known him for a long time. But I am curious, when you walk in and you're thinking about this is a great facility, but do you start grinding about thinking about, all right, so, what else can we do here?
100%. That's anytime you come into a new facility, we've got some events planned down the road. I've seen some things that have worked very well at other properties, some things that have not worked so well at other properties. So I think that's it. The good news is we have a first-class facility here. So when people do come out, I think they're going to enjoy it. It's a great racing product as well. We're known for full fields, big payouts on the regular. So I think from the wagering standpoint, it's exciting as well. So I think we have a lot to offer. It's just, getting folks in the building, new folks in the building. It's so easy to sit home and watch races. I mean, the vast majority of our money, it may shock some folks out there, but 96, 97% of the money that's wagered on our product comes from off track. People sitting at home on their couch. So you're literally looking at nights, we'll bet over $1 million on a card for our live racing product, and literally 900,000 and change comes from off track. We're looking to drive that on track number up.
That is a great point you make, because Tony and I were talking about this a little bit earlier. You have a first-class sports book right here. I love this sports book. Now, how has being able to just sit at home and do all this had an effect? Because, man, if I were around here, I'd come here all the time, just kind of lean back in a lounge chair and watch anything right in front of you. But how has that affect?
It's just very similar to horse racing. The apps drive the game. It's very easy to sit home. You got all those, bonus bets and whatnot, depending on which app you're using. So you can go line shop, as a lot of people do out there, to try to get the better number through some of those apps. So, yeah, it literally is trending the same way. Again, you want to try to give a good experience on track. Some people are just old-fashioned. I'm a little like that. I'm a cash guy myself. I like to come in and put cash up and get cash back.
Yeah.
So I
that's
think
old school.
That is
right
old
there.
school.
Yeah.
I'm a very old school guy, so that's my prerogative typically as well. So I think that you just want to offer a good experience. We had a Caesars Sportsbook in downtown Lexington as well, right by Matt's Bar, as a matter of fact. And that was a similar story. With March Madness, we would do huge tournament parties, just try and drive some foot traffic on track. You want to give people a reason to come, because if you don't, it's very easy to sit home and watch and wager from your phone.
It is. So what are some of the hot things? You mentioned some things that are working right now, maybe some that aren't. What are some of the things that are working that you want to maybe push forward here?
Well, I'll tell you, tomorrow, obviously, is Kentucky Derby Day. That's what we're really excited about. We're giving away $5,000 in free bets on the Derby to customers on site. All you have to do is come swipe your card at a kiosk right when you walk in the door, and we're not going to give them away $10 or $20 at a time. We're giving away 5 $1,000 win bets on the Kentucky Derby. So 5 people will be lucky enough to win that. We're giving away 5 $100 win bets on our live races at Hoosier Park as well. Having a huge hat contest on track tomorrow. That's
huge hat contest.
Don't ever make the mistake of being a judge in a hat contest. I thought that would be really fun, really cool. Those people are really serious. Sometimes they spend hours creating these hats. It's a cutthroat business down there.
Do they get fired up at you, too, if you don't win?
They get fired up. So that's going to be fun, though. Always fun. You get to see some really creative costumes as part of that. All
right, Kentucky Oaks, 6:45 coming up later on tonight. I know Tony's going to do a little bit of research and join us coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. We got a weather delay working right now. All right. So what's the
it looks
effect on
like
that?
a little bit of a short sale. I was looking at it on my way down, and they're getting hit hard right now with thunderstorms. Literally, that signal just has posted weather delay. So they've asked everybody to go indoors. I know on track, which is going to be a little tricky at Oaks.
So does that push the time back of everything?
Yes,
it does.
It will,
okay.
yeah.
Well, explain to folks right now that are listening that want to get involved in this with that weather delay.
Yeah,
what's happening?
It's going to be a little tricky because it looked like there was a break in the weather, so it looks like they might at least be able to continue to step forward on this card. So it's a little bit of an unknown. The good news is, I'll say, if you're running tight on time, or if you're late getting off work today, you still have plenty of time to get here and join us for the Kentucky Oaks. So at the very best, it's going to be at least 20, 30 minutes behind original schedule.
You got any thoughts on that? You want to go on deep detail?
Not the Oaks. I have a little bit more opinion on the Derby
Well,
tomorrow.
let's move forward. 6:55 coming up tomorrow. I know we have a scratch that I think happened a little bit earlier today.
And
right?
Baez, the A.E. Drew in there. He's getting a lot of play. The winner of the Santa Anita Derby. John Sheriff's trainee, he's getting a lot of play. But I really like two angles I'll give you for the Derby tomorrow, at least in my opinion, which is probably about what you pay for it. And that is Sandman I really like. He's coming out of the Arkansas Derby. I think that he's a horse that just, the longer they go, it seems like the better he gets.
I picked it because of the Metallica song Inner Sandman.
That's awesome.
No, it was 9-2 of the odds right now, correct? Last
That's
check right now.
yes.
So why do you, all right, besides me liking Metallica, what is
Comes
the
out of
reason
the Arkansas Derby. That was the mile and an eighth. They're racing a mile and a quarter. None of these horses have been this distance before. I like horses that are getting stronger as the races get longer. Not that you see that are all in, so to speak, as the race is coming to a close. This is a horse I think, again, just the longer he stretches out, the better he seems to get. So I think that long stretch at Churchill, mile and a quarter here for these 3-year-olds the first time, I give him the edge in that race. It's a tricky race. Everyone wants to ask you who you like the Derby. It's the hardest race, by the way, to handicap for the entire year. I'd have a much better opinion any other day on any other race. The other horse I'll give you, it looks like they're going to have some weather there tomorrow, too. This is a long shot play for you. It's the Sandman's the 17. You've got the 7 as a horse I like as well. Luxor Cafe is a Japanese horse.
Yeah.
They're going to have an off track tomorrow. He's racing an off track 4 times in his career already. The Japanese horses, I think, are going to fly a little under the radar. He has 3 wins and a very close second on off track services. So I think that with that track being off tomorrow, I think that's going to aid Luxor Cafe, and he's going to be double digits.
What do they fly under the radar? Just because from Japan, there's not a lot known?
Yeah, that's why. Even the PPs, if you look at the program, it's you see usually a quarter call, a half call, a three-quarter top of the stretch. You don't get much information. You can go back and watch those replays of some mistakes races, and you have to use your own opinion of how tough the company he's been facing over the Japan. But that industry's come a long way over there, and I just think they get a little more disrespect because they're not such a known commodity like a lot of the other horses that have been here in the U.S.
Gabe Puit, again, is the new general manager of Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino. It is in Anderson. So the difference in the weather tomorrow, and I'm guessing on this, I don't really know. Weather delay right now means thunderstorms and lightning. Tomorrow, the weather impact is just going to be wetness, right?
That's what it looks like. Anything can happen, but it certainly looks like it's going to be a wet day all the way through.
So, and you guys, what time? Tony had mentioned you need to be here by 11. Is that good advice tomorrow?
Absolutely. It's going to be an all-day affair. And I'll tell you what's going to be cool as well. If you haven't checked out the live racing product here at Hoosier Park, we're actually going to sandwich the Kentucky Derby. So we're going to kick off at 4 o'clock. We're going to race 6 races right up until about 6 o'clock. Yep. We'll break for an hour or so for the Derby, and then we'll come back and we'll race the final 6 races. So it's going to be an all-day affair. Again, we're going to have tons of giveaways, hat contests, lots going on here tomorrow. We'll have all sports action in the sports book as well. It's just going to be a huge day, and I don't think there's any better place you'd like to be.
What are some of the benchmarks you have coming up here through the month of May and then into the summertime?
Well, on the racing side, we start some of our stakes in May for our live harness racing. So some of the best 3-year-olds in the sport, particularly here in the state of Indiana, are coming back. These are horses that would have made $400,000 or $500,000 at the age of 2. So that's exciting for us. The Triple Crown obviously is going on. We'll have the Preakness in a couple of weeks. That'll be followed in early June by the Belmont. So it's just that type of year for racing when you get the stars out of the track. Some of the stars from last year are starting to come back. It's a long winter into the spring. It was a tough winter. I know even up here as well. It took some of our horses a little bit longer to train back because they couldn't train quite as hard down to get ready as.
So what was the reason?
Well, I think the track surfaces are just off. And the worst thing for it, a frozen track's not bad. You can go on and train your horses and whatnot. When the tracks start to thaw out, that's when you start to have that trouble. So we get a lot of precipitation, snow, and then the track thaws out. It just makes it a mess out there. It's just hard to continue your fitness regimen for horses. So I think the winter you guys had here was a little rough, maybe compared to normal, and that slowed everyone up just a bit.
So Gabe Puit, the general manager of Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson, he comes from Lexington. What is the horse racing and breeding, I guess, industry like down there, being where you are or were in Lexington?
You know, there's nothing like it. I mean, I know I'm biased, quite frankly, but it's just incredible. I mean, Lexington thrives on horse racing. Anyone that's ever visited there knows that. You can literally be right downtown at Rupp Arena, let's say, and you can drive pretty much 10, 15 minutes any directions. You're going to be in the middle of horse farms, horse country, beautiful farms. It's really just an incredible sight. I always encourage anybody to get down and check it out. But it's the town thrives off racing. We have big thoroughbred track there, of course. Keeneland, they have a spring meet and a fall meet when that meet's going on, or any of the horse sales. You know, these are the most major horse sales in the world for the thoroughbreds are located right there in Central Kentucky.
We should mention this too, because not only is the Commonwealth known for horse racing, and as I mentioned too, being the epicenter of that. But what about the bourbon?
Oh, yes.
Come on now.
Absolutely. You can hit the bourbon trail. That's about another 20 minutes out of town.
You are surrounded by a lot.
Absolutely. You get it all.
One of my big partners is Heaven Hill Distillery, and always been a big fan of Evan Williams and Larceny Bourbon, and what else? Elijah Craig, and I know you guys.
As our governor says, 95% of the bourbon is made in Kentucky, and the other 5% sucks.
That has to be great, and you guys have an incredible bourbon selection here as well.
Yes, we do, and actually that's being upgraded.
Yeah.
You've got a couple.
Is that Gene over there?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've heard Gene is like a whiz on bourbon.
Gene is the bourbon king, and he's worked really well with Stephanie, our F&B manager here, to really upgrade and turn it into a first-class selection.
Man, I feel bad for my girl's hat over there out in the rain right now at Churchill Downs. You see on the right over there on that screen?
It looks a little ugly. That's in their brand new paddock there. It's
the hat and the makeup right there. That's problematic.
That's a little rough.
Hey, Gabe, one more time. Tell everybody about tonight and tomorrow here at Harrah Hoosier Park.
We've got live racing tonight. It's going to kick off at 6:15. We'd invite everyone out. Kentucky Oaks. Who knows when that's going to go? We know they'll get it in because these sales are going to move through Louisville quite quickly. But I would expect the Oaks at least to be on a half-hour delay. So you're looking probably past the 6 o'clock hour, at least into 6:30 or so before that'll kick off. And then tomorrow, it's the biggest day in horse racing in the entire year. First post tomorrow at Churchill, I believe, at 10:30 a.m. We'll have a live racing card here that we'll sandwich right around that Kentucky Derby. Our first live race tomorrow goes off at 4 o'clock. Hat contest going to kick off at 2 o'clock. It's going to be an all-day affair. It's a betting buffet. You can bet on the races at Churchill, the races at Hoosier, any sporting events. So walk over to the casino. Good food, great atmosphere, and cold drinks.
I love it. Hey, Gabe, it's great to meet you, man.
You as well, my friend.
Let's do this again. I know we come up here often, but make sure you come out and talk with us, too. That's outstanding.
My pleasure.
Hey, ask for Gabe Puit when you're up here. He's brand new. Now, you live downtown in a condo, huh?
Yes. We're Bottle Works District.
Whoa, Bottle Works. Yeah. What do you go over there often? And
I actually was at the food garage today. You've been in the food garage?
Oh, yeah. What's the lobster place over there?
I saw that. Yeah. I didn't go into the barbecue place, so give a shout out to them.
Oh, yeah, there's another thing you're getting in Kentucky right there. Good barbecue. Thanks, man.
All right, my pleasure.
Gabe Puit right there, the general manager, Harrah Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. We'll get a Kentucky Oaks look inside coming up late in the 5 o'clock hour again with Tony Renz when he joins us. Also, keep this in mind over the course of the show. Tony East, we've got Pacers, Cavaliers, Eastern Conference semifinals, game 1 on Sunday. Tony joins us at the 5 o'clock hour. But Mike Wells on the other side. We'll talk Pacers, playoffs, Colts, and more with Mike. That's coming up next. Again, a bit of a delay for the Kentucky Oaks later on tonight, but not much. We'll keep you updated on that and more. Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Ride with JMV.
Say, man, you got a joint? No, not on me, man. It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Oh, you got to crank it up here. Carb Day 2025. We are going to be down to party. You guys ready? May the 23rd on Friday. That's the All-American Rejects out of the state of Oklahoma, who's been on the show before. Brett Michaels also a part of it. Carb Day 2025, the IMS.com websites where you go. What's up? There's Chad and Stacy from Madison County right here. I love to see them. No, but get your tickets, IMS.com right now, Carb Day 2025, and know this to be true. I just saw Chad and Stacy. I'm sure they're going to be a part of it. But remember, the JMV Takeover on race weekend, it's going to start on Carb Day all the way through Monday from Bronze Fun Time Campers on Pendleton Pike. We are going to have ourselves an RV, and we're going to be staked out in the Coke lot throughout race weekend, and the JMV Takeover on B105.7 is going to be live from the Coke lot. And I don't think anybody's ever done that. I'm hoping I don't get my ass whipped, but I don't think anybody's ever done it, and we're going to do it. You know what? You guys all deserve a party, and this is going to be the ultimate. Why not take race weekend to the next level? The JMV Takeover to the next level. Again, Bronze Fun Time Campers. Ask for Austin on Pendleton Pike. He will set you up. But he is going to house us inside an RV and the Coke lot, and the JMV Takeover happens the night before the greatest spectacle in racing, and really throughout the race weekend. If you guys want to come over and stop by and hang out, I think we'll probably be fairly easy to find in the Coke lot. Come on over and join us. We got plenty of room, and we're all there. Meantime, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, he is back from ESPN Radio. Here's our good friend Mike Wells. Hello, Mike. How are you?
Man, I gotta tell you, I probably will acknowledge I am not a IndyCar fan, but just hearing what you got planned race weekend, Carb Day, that sounds like a whole lot of fun and the opportunity where there could be some danger out there up there in the RV, man.
It's okay. You know what? Sometimes you need to live on the edge a little bit. The RV is going to be packed full of Heaven Hill Distillery products. And the best part about it, I'm going to be an absolute mess all weekend, which is a good thing. I cannot wait for it. I mean, a mess. I cannot wait. And I want to see. Please come out there. It is going to be an absolute blast. I know Doug Bowles is going to be out there. I think Connor Daly is going to make an appearance. We're going to have a lot of people show up there, during the show or over the course of the weekend. So we'll look for everybody, including you, Mike, at the Coke lot, the Bronze Fun Time Camper, the RV. It's Bronze on Pendleton Pike with Austin coming up on race weekend. Actually, it's going to be in the infield, Mike, for Grand Prix weekend next weekend, and then in the Coke lot for race weekend, Carb Day all the way through Monday. So come out and join us. It's going to be a blast.
Man. And if you're doing a show during that time, they better have a dump button ready, because unfiltered JMV could be a lot of problems, unfiltered John.
Well, here's my vision, and one of the reasons why I got an RV from Austin at Bronze is I wanted one with a ladder, because my vision is to do the show on top of the RV, right? And I'm going to have DJ Skids, who's going to remix music live out there from the RV as well. So we've got that working.
If you do the show from on top of the RV, I'm going to be up there with you. I'm going to have me a super soaker water gun, and there's not going to be water in there. Won't be water as I'm spraying it out into the audience of your listeners.
Well, I think that's great. And listen, I'm not going to be wearing a shirt anyway, Mike, so it doesn't matter. I mean, it's all good. You can spray the hell out of me. Just don't get me electrocuted or anything. But we'll be all good.
No, it won't. Listen, there's going to be white stuff in there, but clear liquid, but it's not going to be water. It will not be water.
Well, seriously, if you've never experienced before I think the time is coming up later on this month. This is it. I mean, really, this is going to be the time because you can also you have a home base, right? You have a home base. You can go in and hang out in there. So I think that's going to be the time.
All right, good deal off of that. Hey, can I hear him announce the time for Game 1 on Sunday, man? Goodness gracious!
They have not.
Oh, they need
I think
to. Let's go.
Yeah, I think everybody's kind of hoping for an 8:00 start and not a 6:00 start.
Yes. So I cannot wait for this series because obviously the Cavs were rolling all year, dominated the East and stuff. But I think that the matchup, this is a great matchup for the Pacers. I think both teams have solid starting fives. Both teams have guys off the bench that can get you buckets. This is going to be a hell of a series for the Indiana Pacers.
No, it is. I asked this question before you came on. Is there any way, if the Pacers don't advance to the Eastern Conference Finals, that you can view this season and the accomplishment as a disappointment? Is there any way?
I mean, I look at it as they brought the same group back together with the expectations of taking a step further, pushing the Boston Celtics to get past them in the East, potentially in the Eastern Conference and try to make a run at the finals. If you lose in the semifinals, yeah, it's a failure. I mean, this is not a participation league. You're not going to be happy just to have the fruit boxes and the orange slices and say you knocked off Giannis in the first round and then competed against the Cavs in the second round. So yeah, it's a disappointment.
I just look at it this way. Cleveland was so good over the course of the year, right? I mean, to this point, they've won 64 games. We know how dominant they were, both at home on the road. So if the Pacers lose, let's say, in 6 or 7, I'm sure in 6, if they lose at home, that'll be a disappointment. If they lose in 7, that'll be viewed as a disappointment? Or is it different levels depending upon how the series goes?
Honestly, I look at how the series goes. They lose 4 or 5 games. I say 4, 5, or 6 because, like you said, you alluded to, Game 6 will be at Gabriel's Fieldhouse, where the Pacers love playing there, obviously. But if they go out and just get thumped out of it, it is a major, major disappointment. If they lose the series, it's still a disappointment, just not as extreme as if they got swept or lost in 5 games or something.
Most important player on their roster for the upcoming series, who would it be? Name one.
For the Pacers?
Yeah.
Woo, man. I mean, obviously, the obvious is Tyrese. And I say it this way. We've seen it. We saw at times in the regular season where Tyrese kind of was passive out there and not a go-getter. He was not Tyrese of what we saw the other night. So he's the obvious one. But let's go secondary. I'm going to say your boy Miles, just because of you. I mean, he's going to be going against Jared Allen out there, who average more than 10 boards a game in the first round of that series. He's got to be able to keep the bigs of Cleveland off the glass. So I'm going to say it is definitely. I'm going to say your boy Miles is the next one because Tyrese and Siakam, those guys, they got to show up no matter what. But Miles is the guy that I think has got to take his game to another level in this series.
I'm going to give you Benedict Mathurin because I think on this Pacer team, he is the one guy that we believe, if need be, can go out and get it on his own. And at the end of that series in round number 1 against Milwaukee, he was a far cry from that. And I know he got kneed in the nuts by Giannis and stuff earlier, missed a game. But he was a far cry from that. I think Mathurin needs to be why we really liked him and saw moments during the regular season that we felt that he was a missing piece for this roster. To me, that's what I'm looking for more than anything else, is Mathurin being the Mathurin that we hope and want to see.
I like that choice, and I know we're trying to forward think things to Cleveland, but I've been waiting all week to ask you this question. Is there a more overrated head coach in the NBA than Doc Rivers?
Well, while I would agree with you in the past, I mean, he didn't have a lot to work with outside of Giannis in that series, though. Can we not look at it that way? I mean, did you not think? I thought the roster was kind of dog crap. Wasn't it?
It's a horrible roster, but I'm even going back to when Doc was in with the Clippers and stuff. I just feel like Doc Rivers has been hanging on to that one NBA title that he won in Boston with Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett. I feel like he has not taken advantage of the talent on the rosters to be a legit winner. I just think he is so overrated as a head coach.
I just thought that especially after Lillard was done, that there was no chance, and that roster's awful. And some of the decisions, they just extended the general manager, and the Middleton trade decision, even going back further than that with the decision on Holiday, and you can look at it in Milwaukee. I think, Mike, right now, 2 years for Damian Lillard, that didn't work out at all. You haven't gotten out of round number one, so there really hasn't been anything working but Giannis over the course of the past couple of years.
Yeah, and with Lillard dealing with the torn Achilles, I mean, you got to think he's gone at least half of next season. So you're looking at potentially 2.5 seasons of not getting what you got in return. And holy cow, that Kyle Kuzma trade really worked out for the Bucks, huh?
Yeah, it's something, no doubt about that. I guess I'm going to view this fair or unfair with the matchup with Cleveland as, all right, we'll see how they play and how far they push it, whether or not I'm disappointed. Because you know this, Mike, I've been on board with the whole run it back. I want to see everybody back. I want to see these guys grow, and I want to see the Pacers do it differently. And I think we kind of know that there are going to be some tough decisions made in the offseason, I would imagine, which will stink. But I want this team to give upper management every single reason, or to give Steven Simon every single reason to be all in, and luxury tax threshold, second layer, whatever, go into it, because there is a belief in this group. I hope that this group proves to people, much like I believe, that they're legit far beyond what we witnessed last year and what we've seen this year, and even can take it to the next level in the future. I hope that's where they're going with this entire thing. But man, Cleveland is really good.
No, give me your prediction, because by the time I'm on next Friday, we're going to be several games into it already.
Yeah. I have gone with Cleveland in 7.
Cleveland in 7? I'm going to tell you, I'm going Cleveland.
Yeah.
Give me the Cavs in 6. I just think this Cavs
that hurt my it all would hurt my feelings. I don't want to see it, but that one would hurt my feelings right there. I don't want the Pacers to lose out on their home hardwood and go home like that. So I don't.
Yeah, I think the Cavs. I don't think the Cavs have gotten the respect they deserve because of the Boston Celtics and just how good they them winning the title and expectations of winning back to back. But the Cavs went from wire to wire in leading the Eastern Conference, and nobody's giving them the type of credit I think they deserve, especially when you combine what's been going on in the Western Conference.
Well, and the other thing we'll watch is the health of Darius Garland, too. Although they're deep. Ty Jerome works fine. Sam Merrill's a kind of A.J. Green shooter coming off the bench. I mean, DeAndre Hunter goes without saying what he is off the bench. So there's a lot of pieces. They can really, Mike, they can match a lot of the edge that we talk about the Pacers that they have night in and night out. The Cavaliers can match that and then some.
Yep. And they're well coached. So now, I just want every game to be competitive. Basically, what I want is what we're seeing out of Denver and the Clippers. I know there were a couple blowouts, but that's been a hell of a series. The Nuggets and the Clippers.
Yep. Good to have you back. Couple of weeks. We'll be out there in the RV. You got to slide by and be a part of it, okay? I'll roll some Eric B. and Rakim, a little Public Enemy, something like that, so we can get down with a little 80s hip-hop, too.
I love it, brother. Hey, have a great weekend. Tell my girl Laney I said hello.
You got it, buddy. Thank you. It's Mike Wells of ESPN Radio. In fact, Laney's got a choir concert, I think, tonight at Center Grove. Now, I'm skeptical whether or not I'm going to get down there in time. especially when I was on the road up here, and it was much easier to get up here. I look in the southbound lanes of I-69 past 465 on the northeast side, and that did not look good. Is it always like that on the inbound? Yeah, it didn't look good. On the way up here, it was really easy to get to. Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. More on the Eastern Conference semifinals with the Pacers and the Cavs. Tony East, top of the hour. Hey, get here for the Kentucky Oaks coming up too. Probably pushed back a little bit from what was supposed to be the 6:45 start time, but we got you covered here tomorrow with the Kentucky Derby as well. Don't go anywhere. It's 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
And where'd you just sit?
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, I was looking, too, at some of the future wagering here. And, Sweet 16 in Indy, if you remember. Boilermakers, Cougars of Houston, among many of those teams that are slotted with a great possibility coming up in 2026 to reach the Final Four in Indy. Caesar Sportsbook is with us right now. Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. We have got you covered again. The Kentucky Oaks tonight probably pushed back a little bit because of the weather down in Louisville. So we shall see. Again, 6:45, I think, was the original start time for that. Live racing begins around 6:15 here later on tonight. 6:55 tomorrow, the Kentucky Derby right here. You can enjoy it at Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. And, of course, contest. They say get here at 11 a.m. Make a day of it. That's sound advice. Tony Renz rejoins in a little bit. My man D. White's in the house today. Good to see Derek here. Thank you. I see Litz over there, too, and that yes, sirs. I think Litzy wore that yes, sir shirt to get at me. That's outstanding. Shout out to Chad and Stacy of Madison County. Eric and Laura. By the way, Eric's band plays. You sending me that? Eric's band plays in Monticello. Is that tonight? Tomorrow night in Monticello. I'm going to give you full details because I know this signal may not travel all the way up to White County, but by God, if somebody's playing in Monticello and it's an awesome band with my man Eric and Laura over there, I want you to be a part of it. I'll give you those details coming up in just a second as well. Tony East will join us. More of a break. Sunday, game 1. What are you thinking about that matchup? Does it go 7? Will the Cavaliers be a little bit more dominant than what we're thinking right here? Will we be disappointed on any level? Disappointed, I should say, on any level. That's the discussion we're going to have, and maybe a little bit more into Darius Garland and that injury situation as well. That is coming up with Tony East on the other side. Chad Buchanan, the Pacer general manager, earlier this week re-racked in the 6 o'clock hour as well. Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino. We're in Anderson today. Would love to see you with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
With JMV.
Are you kidding?
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. Gabe Puit is the new general manager. Joined us a little bit earlier today. The Kentucky Oaks later on tonight right here. This sounds like Robbie Dupree right here, James. On the Yacht Rock angle for this weekend, the Kentucky Derby tomorrow night, 6:55. We'll go over all that and more with Tony Renz coming up later on in the hour. A reboot, if you will, of our conversation a couple of days ago with Pacer General Manager Chad Buchanan. Sunday, Game 1 in Cleveland. And, of course, in case you missed the news earlier today, we will be the radio home of the Indiana Fever coming up here as well. And as somebody that covers the Fever and the Pacers both joins us now, the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Forbes Sports, the Next Tubes, Locked On Pacers, and then some. Tony East is with us. Hello, Tony. How are you?
I'm great. My favorite time of year. Both teams are rocking and rolling.
I just ate 2 hard-boiled eggs during the break. Is that a snack of your choice?
That would be 2 more hard-boiled eggs than I've had my entire life, so good for you.
Seriously? You're not a fan of that, huh?
I can't say I don't like them. I have just never had one. They don't look appealing to me.
You know, they make them now. I have them in a package right here called free-range eggs, hard-boiled, ready to eat, right here. That's good stuff right there. It's high in protein.
You know I am the pinnacle of health, so I make great food choices.
Nah, it is all good. All right, let's start with this series with the Pacers and the Cavs coming up on Sunday. Where do you factor in the relative health of Darius Garland as far as trying to predict where this series might go?
Yeah, it's a major thing. I mean, he is an offensive machine. I thought for a while this year, and everybody who covers the Cavs tells me I'm wrong, so I'm definitely wrong. I thought that he was playing better on offense than Donovan Mitchell for a lot of the season. He just has a very rare, Pacers fans obviously don't know this because they have the best player at this in the league, but Darius Garland has a very rare combo of passing and shooting ability that just makes him a really tough cover and keeps their offense flowing. Like Donovan Mitchell can take a step back and the Cavs offense is still sensational. It's a huge deal if he misses any time in the series. The Cavs posted a picture of him at some sort of practice today. I'm not sure if the quote said that he was a full participant or not. I haven't had a chance to really read into it, but it'd be a huge deal. He's not the best defender, but he would probably be on one of Nembhard or Neesmith, if I had to imagine, almost certainly on one of those two to start the series. So the net gain for the Cavs, with him playing or not, is enormous, and that says a lot about the Miami Heat, that without him they could still run through them twice in the first round. But, yeah, if he misses any time or he's limited in any way, that is a massive break for the Pacers because he's been awesome this year.
It is a toe injury, and he is listed as day-to-day. So we shall see as far as that is concerned. Now, I will say this, Tony. They have a lot of what the Pacers have, especially in terms of depth, and normally that is the edge for the Pacers. But with the Cavaliers, not so much because they're just as deep and talented.
Yeah, they are. Ty Jerome, Pacers saw that about as up close as you can possibly see how good he can be in that late or mid-April game they played in Indy where the Cavs sat all their starters, and it was still a very tough game for the Pacers because Ty Jerome was just sensational. A lot of people thought he might win Sixth Man of the Year, but he didn't play a ton this year due to injuries, and they had Caris LeVert early in the year too, which kind of limited Jerome's role. But once they traded away Caris LeVert at the trade deadline, he's just been amazing, and he might be. I think he has a very strong case for best backup point guard in the league. It's either him or Peyton Pritchard. He's a monster, and that means they have an insanely good guard rotation with always two of him, Garland, and Mitchell on the floor. Dean Wade has never made a mistake ever in the NBA. He's going to be one of their backup 3, 4, 5s throughout the series. Isaac Okoro is going to play in the series because he's got good defensive chops for potentially guarding Halliburton a little bit. Sam Merrill made 4 or 5 threes in that Pacers Cavs game last month. I can go on and on. They've got I haven't even said DeAndre Hunter's name yet. The guy they traded for at the trade deadline. Their bench is really good. Kenny Atkinson, every time he has to make a choice of how he wants to adjust his lineup, he always seems to pick, putting more shooting onto the floor and then figuring out the rest of his stuff from there. Well, it's really easy for him to do that because everybody who comes off his bench besides Okoro is a really good shooter, right? Their bench is awesome. Yeah. Usually the Pacers bench is an advantage they have in most of their series. It's won them some playoff series that they've been able to play fast all the time and have advantages with their mix and match group. That is way harder to do against the Cavs.
I'm going to ask you who you think is most important going in to this series from a Pacer angle. And then I will tell you, I think that we're going to have to see a complete turnaround. And whether it was because it was the knee that he took from Giannis nearing the nut area right there that took him out, and the reason why he did not look good whatsoever in the closeout game, I'm going to start with Benedict Mathurin because he's like one of one with this team. He's a guy that does stuff that we believe others cannot do individually on this team, and he has got to significantly, Tony, to me, be along for the ride in this series or things aren't going to go well. So I'll start with him. How about you?
Yeah, I think I have two. One would be him. It's weird to call this player an X factor. Like, I usually think when people talk about X factors, they're talking about like the non-star player who could most swing a series. I think if Pascal Siakam doesn't have an awesome series, the Pacers are going to be in a lot of trouble against the Cavs because think back to the games they played during the season. He was amazing against the Cavs. Unless the Cavs went zone specifically to stop Siakam, he was really good at scoring against Cleveland, and that seems unintuitive, right? The Cavs have Evan Mobley. He just won Defensive Player of the Year. They have Jared Allen, who's a really good defender, an awesome rebounder down low. Like, they have really good size and talented defenders in their front court, but they also switch a lot on defense. They don't want you to see space very often so they can react and make their move from there, right? They're fantastic at that. That's what they like to do. And so, you know, in that first half of that second game the Pacers and Cavs played, Siakam had 25 points in just that half because he'd see a switch and just go and score against a smaller player, against somebody he has an advantage against. So because the Cavs like to defend that way, I think he'll have a lot of chances to have a good series, and if he can pull it off, the Pacers will have a chance because that means one of their star players is playing well. So I'm putting a star in the X Factor department just because of a tactical choice Cleveland likes to make. But if I didn't pick Siakam, I would look at really hard at Mathurin because two things. One, I'll be curious if the Pacers can stop the Cavs at all. You know, their guards are so good on offense that they had the best offense in the league this year. They currently have the best offense in the playoffs. If the Pacers can get any defensive resistance, that'd be huge. And Mathurin was their best guard defender for good portions, not all of. Ben Shepherd had his name in that too, of that Buck series. Like, it took one quarter for Rick Carlisle to take T.J. McConnell off of Kevin Porter Jr. and put Ben Mathurin on him because they needed that defensive ability. So Mathurin's going to have to guard, whether it's Jerome or one of the starters for the Cavs. And I think the other way this series could go is the Pacers just realize at some point, all right, we can't stop the Cavs. We've got to score. We got to score as much as we can and over-index on offense all the time. And then it becomes important for Mathurin to make shots, right, and, like, make quick decisions. I thought his decision-making, his tempo, his cutting, that was all good in the first round, but he said it today, like, his shot-making wasn't really there. He's got to make shots in the next round. I mean, I think he only made 1 3, maybe 2 in the first round. Maybe it's injury-related. Maybe it's first playoffs. Maybe it's something else. But he's going to be important to give them something of note, whether that is scoring or defense, and that's going to make him extremely important in an otherwise a series of guys that love to play fast.
Yeah, Pacers-Cavs, Game 1 coming up on Sunday. Start time still, I believe, to be determined. I haven't seen anything on that as of yet. Tony East is on the Andy Moore
I have.
Automotive Group hotline. Have you? What is it?
It's at 6 if there is a Game 7 of Rockets-Warriors. It's at 8 if there's no Game 7 of Rockets-Warriors.
Yeah. So I think we're kind of hoping that I don't know. I'm hoping that it's 8.
Yes, as somebody who would like to mow the grass Sunday morning before I go to Cleveland, I would also root for 8 o'clock. So go Warriors.
Well,
go Warriors.
I would also reference this. I want to double back to what you said about Pascal Siakam, and the reason why you bring it up is because recently there has been not as solid thinking that he was going to bring it to the level of Siakam that we have grown accustomed to seeing. Is that why you bring it up? Or is there another reason there? I'm just kind of curious.
No, I think he's been awesome. Like the teams freak out about Pascal Siakam, right? Like you could see it with the Bucks. Like he would catch it in the post or at the elbow.
Yeah.
They immediately have a guy on him and another guy shading. Like he's very good. He draws that kind of attention. I just think for the Pacers offense to hum the way they'll want it to in this series, he's going to have to be able to punish the Cavs defense in the way they like to defend, or else they're going to be totally comfortable switching and not really panic about any matchup in the series. And he is the kind of best mismatch killer the Pacers have for doing that. Like, think about the end of Game 5 of Pacers-Bucks. The Pacers just ran Halliburton Siakam two-man game over and over again. And then if there was a switch and there was a guard on Siakam, they would throw it in the post and work from there. I think he scored 6 of his 10 points in the game on like 4 possessions. So, yeah, I think it's just mostly about the way the Cavs want to play defensively. And if they go zone, that does neutralize Siakam a bit, but that unlocks a little bit more of the shooting. So I just think it's mostly based on the way the Cavs play, not anything wrong or different about Siakam of late. He's still so important in every series they play.
The other angle you had right there I find interesting, too, because I tend to agree with you. Whereas this season, they have not been solely counting on their offense to play a significant role in how their defense affects the opposition, because their defense has been better. But I would agree. I think you look back to last year, and you need to have the pace and the offensive production in this series against Cleveland, because granted their defense is better, but Cleveland is so good offensively. I agree. We have to see the highest level of Pacers offensive performances in this series because of that.
100% agree, and I think that will influence a lot of the decisions they make with lineups and how their bench goes. Like, in theory, I look at the Cavs roster like they're going to start 2 big men who can play center, and one of them is going to be on the floor at all time. Like, the Bucks didn't do that. Bobby Portis was their backup 5. So in that series, I thought, maybe they won't play Thomas Bryant. In my head, against the Cavs, they can play Thomas Bryant because of the size he provides. But if Thomas Bryant's not giving you enough offense, or you need more offense, like, do they just take him off the floor and say, screw it, we're going small all the time? Like, I'll be very curious, and I think we'll figure out very quickly in the series how much he'll be able to play, how much, Ben Shepherd, like, he seems like he'd be important in a series like this. He can defend at the point of attack. If he can't get enough stops against Garland and Mitchell and Jerome, would he play? Like, is he giving you enough on offense? All those guys who have a theoretical role in this series, just like looking at everything on paper, it seems like they'll be potential to like not be involved late. Like McConnell's going to play, Toppin's going to play, although I think he could have a tough series just given the way the Cavs are built. Matherin's going to play. Like, how they build out from there is going to be fascinating, and I think the Pacers might just end up having to decide who's the best shooter or who's going to give us the best chance to score, because the Cavs are going to score a lot. They destroyed the Heat. It was not even close.
Do you think we're going to see Nesmith on Mobley at all in this series?
Oh, man, that's a good question. I mean, in my head, it starts like when it's just starting 5 versus starting 5 with Nembhard and Nesmith on the 2 good Cavs guards, and vice versa. Those 2 will guard Nembhard and Nesmith. But it would not shock me if there were times when one of those 2, of Garland and Mitchell aren't on the floor. If Nesmith guards up in size, because if he could play the 4 in this series, and his shooting and scoring inside the arc has certainly grown even more this season, that could be one way to do what we both just talked about, which is get more offense on the floor, right? So if they think he can guard Mobley, which good luck, not that Aaron Nesmith can't guard, he's a good defender. Evan Mobley's just huge and is a good passer and an improved shooter. If they think he could do that, I think playing small like that, which the Pacers don't like to do but have done before, would be a way for them to get that shooting onto the floor, like a Toppin Nesmith front court, for example, but then you don't have Siakam out there. I think that's a way they could try to steal some offense minutes, and that's not something they go to very often. But again, this is going to be such a tough series for them to get stops that anything they can do to balance their spacing and their defense, I think they have to try.
All right, so I'm assuming, too, it's Nembhard, Garland, if he's out there. Let's just say, for example, if Garland isn't out there, does Nembhard get Mitchell?
Yeah, I think if you just made me pick, regardless of anything else going on, I would just put Nembhard on Mitchell anyway. Yeah. Even though I think Garland's probably the better offensive player, I think that that's just going to make more sense for the Pacers to do that. Honestly, what I might do as the Pacers is just however the Cavs line up, just do the same, just do the opposite matchups, because then there's nothing confusing in transition, right? You're not having to switch back and forth going down on the opposite ends of the floor. If it's Garland on Nesmith, then Nesmith guards Garland. If it's Garland on Nembhard, then Nembhard guards Garland, and vice versa, because then there's just less confusion. But I'm sure there's a reason I'm missing to have one guy on one or the other on the other. But I think those 4 players are going to be guarding each other on both ends. So I'm not sure it really matters just with how good Garland and Mitchell are. I think, though, if you just made me go with my gut, I would guess it's Nembhard on Mitchell and Nesmith on Garland, and they just try their best to defend those 2 guards. It's so tough to do, though.
Here's Tony East with us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Was the John Halliburton decision ultimately made because of his prior actions, or because they don't want any distractions in this series?
He did something dumb. Like, you have to react to that. I said this yesterday talking with Query, not comparing these things at all, but like John Morant's family or friends did something dumb, they did the same thing. Don't come to the games, get out of the arena, right? Like, that's just how it's got to be. And I get that people say it's a player's dad, it's different, but like it is. But at the same time, it's almost not. Like, if a fan ran on the court, it would be so obvious what to do in that moment, right? So, especially because there was like the waving of the flag and I don't know if you want to call it taunting. I don't know what the perfect word is. Like, you just can't. I get why people think it's dumb that he is not coming to games, but I think it's totally reasonable. Like, that is just not something you can do at all. I thought Ty's point was perfect after the game. Like, it should just be the players in that moment, right? And it's not like a safety hazard. I think that's been slightly overblown, although Giannis certainly didn't seem thrilled that it was happening, and I wouldn't be either if I were him. You have to properly punish someone who does something like that, and I think that's ultimately what it came down to.
All right, so you got this series, and let's just say, for example, the Pacers don't move on. Do you view this season as a disappointment if they don't reach the Eastern Conference Finals?
I wouldn't, no. I think they made that clear last year that they knew it was so hard to do and would be hard to do again. Like, a lot of eras of good teams never make the conference finals or only make it once, not to say that it'd be awesome. I think that the answer to that question might come down to how the series goes. If they get just completely mollywopped by the Cavs and it's not even close and they look like they're far away and they have 0 playoff wins against the Cavs and Celtics the last 2 years, yeah, they might go, man, like, we got some growth out of this year, but like, we're still a little bit far away. But if they go 6 or 7 and they have some close games in there with Cleveland and lose, that might make them go, yeah, you know what? We're right there with a team that won 64 games in the postseason. Our style clearly works, 2 playoffs in a row. Like, a tweak here and there, a little bit of growth from this guy or that guy, we're close. I think it's how the loss happens. If they lose, that will define how they view this season. But I would find it hard to go totally to failure just because the East is really good. Like, the top of the East is great. They were terrible to start the season. And people don't realize, like, how hard winning is in the NBA. Getting to consecutive conference finals is really tough and rare, even for, like, really good teams. So I don't think it'd feel great, especially if they get smoked, but I think they have to be, at least, given the way their last offseason went too, the fact that they were clearly kind of blending we know we're good, but also we want to evaluate our young talent a little longer kind of reality. I think they'd be fine with that, even though it wouldn't be fun for anyone to lose, obviously.
So let's just say there's a positive view in what happens here, win or lose in this series. Will that change at all their financial approach from the Stephen Simon coming up here in the offseason in retaining players or maybe having to give up on players because you want to keep a particular player?
Yeah, that's probably the most important part of how it feels, right? Like, if it feels like they're very close to competing with those teams, especially, like, pretend the Cavs barely win the series and they go on to win the championship, right? Like, the Pacers would feel like, man, we were so close to beating those guys. I mean, they have to think hard about it, whether it comes to paying over the tax or spending over whatever threshold they set for themselves next season. If they get smoked, it's going to be harder for them to justify or turn around and say that that's something they could or should do with this current team. Yeah. So, yeah, for the future of this team being really good, especially next year specifically, a more competitive series would at least, I think, have some weight on that, since they're finally playing the Bucks are good. Giannis is a good player, but they're playing a team that won 16 more games than their first-round opponent. Like, that's insane. This is a very big measuring stick kind of series for the next step of the Pacers, and I think it should have bearing on their decisions. Do I know if it will or won't? I don't, but I absolutely think that they should take into consideration how it went, how it feels, how good the Cavs are, all sorts of those things.
I've said this before, and again, I'm talking about somebody else's money, so people can view that as me and this viewpoint being unfair or whatever. But regarding Stephen Simon and obviously ownership moving forward here, if this team continues to raise the bar, I think they owe it to the fan base to do as much as they can to bring everybody back. And honestly, Tony, I don't want to hear anything about luxury tax layers and levels and any of that crap. They owe it to a fan base that hung around when they sucked and when they were terrible and when people talked about, entertaining losses and all that crap. And I really don't want to hear any other angles other than that if they push it to a point to where we believe there's still a great level of growth and a ceiling with this team moving forward.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, the luxury tax, the word luxury is in there. Like, the theory is you pay it because you have a team that's luxuriously good. Like, if the Pacers are making the top 8 every year and have conference finals or more potential, like, that's a luxury team. That's a really good team. Like, you keep that together. You do everything you can to try to win. Like, obviously, I think that if they can keep a good team together, even make it better in the summer, they should and could, especially considering that. The only argument I would give against that, what you just said, is if they acknowledge, if the ownership level says, if we know we're a top, whatever, 5 team in the league, we will pay it, but they feel good about it this season, like there is actual strategic value in starting to pay the luxury tax at certain times in your team building process, just because the penalties get stronger and stronger every time you're in it over a 5-year span. So in theory, you'd want to start paying it like the perfect time when you're really going for it. So if they have like a rough summer of, negotiating, or they lose somebody, or they have a terrible series, it could in theory make sense for them to go, well, let's start it next year, right? Let's get everything sorted away this year and start it the year after. But that is such a unique circumstance that I don't really want to spend 30 minutes explaining on the radio, that I think that you're absolutely right. That you're absolutely right, especially, Miles is the big name all summer, right? Like, they just got to do what they can to keep him. He very clearly, we saw in the first round, is critical to their success. The only game they lost was the only game he stunk. Like, they've just got it. He's good. They've got to figure it out.
So, what do you think he's going to want?
Great question. They're about to play Jared Allen, who signed just under 3 for $100, about 3 for $100, I can't remember, as an extension in the offseason. Like, if he plays as good as Jared Allen in the series, I don't think it'd be unreasonable for him to want a little bit over $30 million a year. If he plays worse than Jared Allen, maybe it'd be a little under that, right? But he had a better season than Nick Claxton, who just got $25 million a year. Like, I think in that high 20s to 30s range, especially if the cap rises 10%, will be where he would like to settle, or where negotiations should make sense to me. The Pacers would say, okay, can you get that anywhere else? No. And Miles Turner would say, can you win as many games without me? No. And they'll have to figure out what that all means. Maybe it's an easy negotiation because he's only been with one team, but I would imagine, somewhere in that high 20s range per year. And I think for the Pacers, the lower they can start it, the better, just given how their current cap reality sits. As the cap keeps growing, it'll get easier and easier to keep the team together. If they can start it low and make it happen, they got to do it.
Hey, Tony, what to me, or what to you, I should say, has the most profound effect on what type of clock either Walker or Shepard gets in this series?
Man, if they can, if Jarris hits threes like he did in the first round, yeah, he should play, right? Like he shot over 50% from deep in the first round, I think. If that can happen again, that's huge, because he just, we've heard Carlisle talk about this all the time. He loves skilled size. If Walker's shooting like that, he's giving them exactly that, even though his defense kind of comes and goes still at times. Everybody's more focused in the playoffs, including him. Like, he was helpful, certainly against the Bucks. That series was tailor-made for him to be important, just because they need huge people to put on Giannis, and I thought he did a pretty good job. They put him in with 20 seconds to go of a closeout game to guard Giannis, and the Bucks had a turnover on that play. It wasn't like Jarris' fault, but they trusted him in that moment. Shepard, it's all defense, right? Like, he's a very good point-of-attack defender, keep guys out of the lane, all that kind of stuff. If he can have any sort of positive impact against Garland or Mitchell, he'll be useful in this series. And we just saw the Rick Carlisle determined by Game 3. Yeah, I need Ben Shepard. I need somebody else to put on Dame. Andrew Nemhard's in foul trouble. Like, it's very taxing for him to do this the whole game. I got to play Ben Shepard. If he can't guard, I don't think he'll play that much, because his offensive impact's been kind of limited the last couple months as his shots vanished. But it's kind of the opposite skills you think of when you think of those guys that I think will be important. I think for Walker, it'll be his offense, and for Shepard, it'll be his defense.
Hey, Tony, quickly, what's this Caitlin Clark left leg injury situation here?
I found out about it about 2 seconds before we started talking, so I have no idea. Yesterday, when they were running practice and mixing and matching, we saw the starting lineup without her playing as one of the units. It was Lexi Hall in her place, so maybe they were prepping for some of these lineups that will happen. I don't think they're going to play anyone big minutes anyway during the preseason, so I don't know anything. We will see what happens and how this goes, but I would say, given what we've been able to see, I would not have any sort of concerns for the regular season as the Fever.
So that's questionable for the preseason game coming up tomorrow for Caitlin Clark with a left leg injury. What's your prediction for the series in closing here?
I picked Cavs in 6 when I made my first prediction. I think it's closer to Cavs 7 than Cavs 5, if that makes sense. But it's a tough one for the Pacers. If they've got to either have some really nice shooting games or be the first team to figure out how to stop this Cavs team if they're going to walk away with a series win.
Pleasure, buddy. Keep on hooping. You know that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
It's Tony East on the Eddie Moore Automotive Group hotline. Let me take a break. We'll come back. Tony Renz before the end of the show. Chad Buchanan will re-rack that conversation with the Pacer general manager coming up in the 6 o'clock hour, too. Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino. We're in Anderson. Do not go anywhere. It's 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
With JMV.
Here's Johnny. Don't. David Letterman.
Hi, David. I'm Grandpa.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
So you know me, I love local bands. Eric is in a local band right here, playing in Monticello tomorrow, Eric?
That's right.
Where are you tomorrow?
We're on the Madam Carroll Riverboat on Lake Freeman.
Holy crap, that's a party right there, buddy. What's your band?
Yeah, the name of the band is Rough House. We're out of the north side of Indy.
Rough House, north side of Indy?
Rough House, yep. Rough House Indy on social media if you want to look us up.
What do you cover?
We cover everything. We play everything from the 60s through music in the 2000s. Dance music.
So
to keep it going.
What do you think is the best song you play, the most popular song with the crowd?
You know, most popular song with the crowd, believe it or not, probably Tennessee Whiskey by Chris Stapleton.
Oh, hell. There you go, buddy, right there. Eric and Rough House. That's a band on the north side. Lake Freeman, Monticello. What riverboat is it again?
It's called the Madam Carroll.
Madam Carroll on Lake Freeman. That's awesome sounding
Derby
right
Cruise,
there.
yep. This will be the third year in a row we've played it. It's a fantastic time.
Well done. And Eric is a listener, and Laura's over there, too.
That's right.
Awesome listeners to the show. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Eric, thank you very much. Eric and Rough House, Lake Freeman, Monticello coming up tomorrow.
Come check
thank
it
you,
out.
brother. You got it, Eric. Thank you, man.
Bye-bye.
Hope to see you again soon. Thank you, my brother. About 80 right now, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Oh, yeah. I'm feeling good. And a shout out to my man. I had somebody bring me some grass seed. And I think he brought me grass seed here last year at this time as well. I love grass seed. That was the laugh of Tony Renz, Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino at Anderson on what is a glorious day. Kentucky Oaks. It looks like things have cleared off down at Churchill Downs. That is what is on tap. You can check it out here, be a part of it here, and of course down at Churchill Downs outside of Louisville. That is coming up later on tonight. Tony Renz rejoins us now. Hello, Tony.
How are you? It's been a fantastic afternoon.
Have they pushed back the start time of this at all?
No. It looks like it's going to go off, and I mistold you. That race is going to go off today at 5:55.
5:55.
Yes.
So, yes, let's mark that
it's
down.
getting ready, so get your bets loaded right now.
50. Yeah, 50. So 20 minutes from now, 5:55. Is when that is officially underway. See you, John. Thank you very much. Tony Renz is with us. We were talking to Gabe Puit, your general manager, too, a little bit earlier about the festivities coming up today and tomorrow. What are people going to see here being a part of this today into the evening and then coming up for Derby Day tomorrow?
I believe the doors are open at 9 a.m. First post at Churchill's 10:30 a.m. tomorrow. So if you want a Bloody Mary, come out. I know they'll have them being poured. They've got a hat contest. They've got mega bets. I know Gabe talked about that. They got 5 $1,000 mega bets going. They're going to do 5 $100 bets for here racing at Hoosier Park. First post at Hoosier Park live racing's 4 p.m. They'll race 6 races. They'll take about an hour and a half break for the Derby and then come back with 6 races.
Wow, that's quite a day and a weekend you guys got on tap for everybody here.
You got to come ready.
Man, there's no doubt about that. Tony Renz is with us. So 5:55 for the Kentucky Oaks. Have you done any research on it?
I did.
Well, lay it out for
now,
us here.
Now I got to lay this out as a preface, though. I bet 4 races today, and I've not cashed 1 ticket. So
cool.
You take it for what it is. I do like Ballerina de Oro with 11-1 odds. I think she can pull this out. It's going to be a sloppy track, so I think a long shot's going to come in.
Wow. Ballerina what again?
Ballerina de Oro.
Gotcha.
That's out of a Megala de Oro who won the Derby probably about 8-9 years ago.
I gotcha. So that's what you're going with the Kentucky Oaks, but you have yet to cash a ticket.
Exactly. Now, let me tell you this, though, John. I got one for you today. Just today. About 3-4 hours ago.
Okay.
They had a $5 to win side bet on Crazy 4 Poker down on the table games.
Yeah.
Paid $123,000.
Wait a minute. Somebody just won $123,000 over there?
On a $5 side bet on Crazy 4 Poker.
Well, we all got to run over there and try to find
that
it.
right.
When did that happen
games.
Just now?
It was about 3-4 hours ago.
How'd this place not shake at its core when that happened?
If that was me, you would have seen me running across here probably
Lord
with no clothes on.
On a $5 bet?
$5 side bet.
Now, how does that happen?
It sounds like, I didn't hear what the hand was, but it sounds like it was a royal flush, and you put a side bet on the Crazy Four poker, and you get it's kind of a progressive, so it's building up over time as people are playing.
Is that the largest amount won here recently? Right there?
Today.
Yeah.
So I know bigger pots have been paid here before.
What like this week so far? What's the largest amount won on table games or any game for that matter over the casino?
This week, I'd probably say that 123,000 is probably the biggest on table games. This amount now, you've got a lot of play getting ready to come in here tonight, Saturday night, Sunday night. Those are going to be big days because you got Derby going on. Somebody's going to win a bunch of money on the Derby. They're going to take it down to the casino and they'll parlay it into bigger winnings.
Man, oh man. $123,000 during the show. See, that is the power of the show coming up here and knowing that the luck is happening, even though Tony mentioned that he's yet to cash one ticket with his selection so far today, but that is all good. So I'm going tomorrow with the Kentucky Derby with Sandman, and my first thought was because Inner Sandman and Metallica, there's a reason why I'm going, but Gabe did give me some background on maybe why that is, a particular horse that could come home.
Absolutely. And Gabe is a fantastic handicapper, whether it's thoroughbred, standardbred. That guy watches horses like crazy. So I'd follow. I'm going to probably pick up on that a little bit and enter that Sandman into my exotic somewhere.
So I am going Sandman coming up here too. Hey, by the way, besides this weekend, which is incredibly special, what else is on tap for you guys coming up here in the days and the weeks to come?
I don't know if they've released this yet or not, but I know sometime in June they're talking about bringing a full-blown Midway Carnival out here.
I think there's one right over there right now. I saw that too. Over by whatever. I mean, that's a Kroger. Is Payless the same as Kroger up here?
That used to be. Yeah, it's same. Yeah. It used to be called Applewood over there. I seen that driving in too.
Yeah, I think it's Payless now. I think it's kind of an offshoot of Kroger. There are a couple of different.
I know. I've used my Kroger card over there.
Yeah, so I saw a Carnival. So you're going to have a full-blown Midway.
Full-blown Midway. They did it probably 7, 8, 9 years ago. We did it a couple years in a row. It was a big hit. We've got racing Wednesday through Saturday, and it starts at 6:15. Fantastic every single night. We'll pick up Tuesdays come June, and then August the 8th, we'll have you back here, Dan Patch Steaks.
Yeah.
That's become a tradition, you coming to Dan Patch Steaks.
I love that. Now, do you guys still do concerts up here, or...
They have discussed that.
When was the last time you did? Because I have seen a number of concerts up here, and it is always awesome.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Yeah. The best one was Belle Biv DeVoe.
Oh, man.
And Bobby Brown.
Bobby had a bit of a struggle.
You had Mike Wells with
Mike
you
Wells
that
with me. And that's when I got home late because I went the wrong way and ended up in, Alexandria or something.
It happens. It happens.
I didn't know how I'd get home. But I also saw the B-52s and the Go-Go's years ago.
Yeah.
But, Willie Nelson has played here. And, you've had some great concerts here.
Yeah, hopefully they bring that back. I've not seen that yet, but I've heard some discussion. So hopefully they bring that back. I do know on Saturday nights, starting in June through September, outside on the green space area, they'll bring some local bands. I know we had Cook and Bell, we had Mark and Christina there, a couple others out there. So we're starting to show some love to the local bands, and hopefully they bring some big-time artists back.
And food-wise, you got everybody covered here, too?
Absolutely. You've got the Clubhouse and Steakhouse tomorrow night acting as one with a buffet for the Kentucky Derby. But any other night, that's the best steakhouse with a view. You're going to see a horse race every single night.
It is, too. And I'm going to tell you, the food there is much better than the hard-boiled eggs I just had right here out of this package. Even though they're free range, so there's nothing wrong with it right there. It is much better. So once again, explain to folks to get here, Kentucky Oaks. Again, that's off at 5:55 this evening. So that is coming up here before we're off the air. And then a full scale of fun and giveaways and contests coming up tomorrow on Derby Day.
Right off 69, exit 226. Started doors open at 9 a.m. First post 10:30 a.m. from Churchill Downs. We'll go all day with it. First post here, live racing 4 p.m. You want to get here at about 11 a.m., get you a good seat, make sure you get yourself situated.
Got a hat competition going on here, too. And Gabe told me that thing gets furious a little bit.
Yes.
I mean, people expect to win when they do and take so much time to work on that hat.
When Hoosier Park does it, they give big money away.
Yeah. You ever been a part of a show where the host received a bag of grass seed?
Is that to grow, or are they telling you to eat that?
It is. Huh? Yeah, well, yeah, I think he does it because I'm on with Pat Sullivan. By the way, Pat Sullivan, hashtag Ask Pat's about ready to rejoin us here on Select Fridays coming up as well. But no, I think it's kind of a little bit of a tradition for this guy to stop by and drop this off right here. So that's awesome.
I do love me some Pat Sullivan. I
Me
listen
too.
to that on Saturday morning. You call in. I listen to your sister
love
station.
it. I love Pat and Denny and Terry and Allison. It is a fantastic group every Saturday morning on 93 WIBC. Tony Wren's right there. You can ask for him by name when you slide up here as well, man. Thanks for everything. We love being up here. Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely, John. We thank you and keep following you.
It's Tony Wren's right there. Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. Again, that reminder, Eric and his band Roughhouse. Monticello, he's over there talking to Chad and Stacy from Madison County. Roughhouse tomorrow night, Monticello on Lake Freeman. So my advice is to go check that out. It is our good guy, Eric and Laura together. I know that Chad and Stacy is over there. Litzy's rolling around here. Our man D, Derek White, was up in here earlier today. We appreciate that. Everybody we have seen as well. I will remind you that we got a little bit to go, just a slight bit. What do you think, James? Anything goes after 6.
We got about 6.5 minutes.
About 6.5 minutes of that. So I just received tickets for this Center Grove Choir concert. It starts at 7. I don't think there's any way in the world I'm going to get there nearly on time. Would you agree with that? From here to Center Grove? Probably not.
I'd say it's unlikely.
Yeah, I will probably have to park in Trafalgar, too, for that because the lot, I'm sure, will be full. But we'll try to make it. Give it us our best shot. Hey, by the way, too, shout out because Blake is going for a fundraiser tonight at the Mirah Egyptian Room. I know all our friends over at the Mirah on EDM show, and I actually have seen them before. It is a group out of Chicago called Levity. Has anybody ever seen the EDM group Levity? I think a duo out of Chicago. Of course, I talk all the time about John Summit. As far as music today with EDM, John Summit is one of my favorites. He is, I want to say, a former accountant out of Chicago that kind of rounded his craft and EDM into form, and now he is a global superstar. Levity, maybe not on that level, but incredibly entertaining. Levity is playing a fundraising event at the Mirah Egyptian Room later on tonight. And I know Blake is going to go over there and check that out, but that should be some fun, too, if you like electronic dance music or EDM. Levity from Chicago, Illinois, playing a fundraiser at the Mirah Egyptian Room coming up later on tonight. All right, quick break. We'll come back. We do have time for you at 239-1070. As James mentioned, after 6, about 6 minutes of anything goes. Then we shall re-rack our conversation a couple of days ago with Pacer General Manager Chad Buchanan. A busy day. We will recap your calls coming up and a smidge of anything goes as a Derby weekend is officially upon us and we celebrate at Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino. We're in Anderson with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Picture me? No! The definition of the word idiot, which you f***ing are.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
No, shout out to Gabe and Tony here. Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. Derby weekend is upon us. Number 9 at 239-1070 right now. You can go see the Sancio Grand Prix on us. Number 9 is going to go. 239-1070 to the Grand Prix coming up next weekend. Barber down in Birmingham, the site of the IndyCar event coming up this weekend. Yeah, we get to see. Oh, yeah, Joseph Newgarden shout out right there. Number 9, you're going to go to the Grand Prix on us at 239-1070 right here. We got a little bit of Anything Goes coming up. This reminder, on Monday, we celebrate Cinco de Mayo at the Alamo Draft House Cinema, West Side. That is between 38th and Lafayette Road on Georgetown Road. The old, because that's going back a ways, is the old location of Cub Foods on the West Side. But you will love it. The Alamo Draft House Cinema, a mini JMV film festival. While we're there, they have a sports bar. They have incredible cocktails. They're going to have great deals on margaritas for Cinco de Mayo. Great food. And I mean incredible food. Shout out to Giancarlo and Hector and all of those that will have us there on Cinco de Mayo. But I want to see you. And maybe most importantly, because we're in the month of May, they have a Dallara simulator for you to drive the Indy 500 just like drivers prep for the greatest spectacle in racing. Normally, because there's only 3 locations, including the museum, you can get into one. You have to pay for it. For the 3 hours that I am there, it is absolutely free for you to wheel around the Dallara Race Simulator. Alamo Draft House Cinema, Cinco de Mayo. Again, Giancarlo and Hector shout out. Let's make sure on Monday you make it a point to join us, because it is going to be an absolute blast. This place is outstanding, and I love the fact that we're going to hit the West Side coming up on Monday, Cinco de Mayo. Anything Goes. Chris starts on the other side, and a re-rack of Chad Buchanan, Pacers GM, earlier this week. Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino. We're in Anderson. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Now let's do some anything goes at 239-1070 Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. One more time for you. Monticello tomorrow. Eric and the band Roughhouse will be playing Lake Freeman. Check him out. If you go see him tomorrow, tell him you heard it right here. Roughhouse. Eric and Laura here. Chad and Stacy from Madison County. It was good to see my man Litzy here as well. D. White was in the house a little bit earlier. Tony Renz was on the show. We had the brand new general manager, Gabe Puit, who was awesome back in the 4 o'clock hour, as we're underway with Derby weekend, the 151st Kentucky Derby coming up tomorrow. Again, 6:55, that's officially underway. Breakdown with both the Oaks race today and the Derby for tomorrow for both Gabe and Tony. Mike Wells of ESPN Radio, Tony East talked game 1 coming up on Sunday, either 6 or 8, depending upon the outcome of the Rockets and the Warriors. With the Warriors a closeout home opportunity in San Fran tonight, that's at 9 o'clock. So either 6 or 8 on Sunday. Again, that is dependent upon the outcome of the Rockets-Warriors coming up tonight for the Cavaliers and the Pacers. Game 1, Eastern Conference semifinals. That's coming up on Sunday evening. Either way, we're kind of hoping it's 8 o'clock. Anyway, we got that, and, of course, a big weekend for you as well. JMV Takeover tomorrow night, B105.7. We'll get that underway at 6 o'clock. And don't forget, Cinco de Mayo celebration Monday, West Side. I love that, with Hector and Giancarlo and the gang at Alamo Drafthouse Cinema. And we've got a lot of great deals, including the Delara Simulator for you. Absolutely free. You can wheel it for free on Monday between 3 and 6 with me. That's at Alamo Drafthouse Cinema on the west side between Lafayette Road and 38th Street on Georgetown. I promise you will love this. Absolutely is a fantastic facility for you and the entire family. It is going to be great. Meantime, some anything goes right now at 239-1070. Fulton is up first. Hello, Fulton. How are you, buddy?
Doing great, John. How you doing?
Hello, Fulton. I hope you're having a great weekend so far.
Yes, I am. Did you get the ticket?
I got the tickets, buddy.
I can't wait to see you on my show.
Well, I got a lot going on, Fulton, but I appreciate the fact that you want to see and you want to hang with me again, my brother. I do.
Yeah, I want you to come see the Sousa Chords and almost here.
Yep.
So.
You got it. All right, Fulton, and I'll wait.
John,
go ahead. Yeah.
Sunday is my mom's 46th birthday.
Well, happy birthday to your mom. Tell her happy birthday from us.
Hopefully I'll call in the JMV Takeover and see if I can get her song request.
You got it, buddy. Thank you, Fulton. Have a great weekend.
You're welcome. You too.
Anything goes. You got it. Anything goes with Fulton, and Todd is next. Hello, Todd. How are you?
Hey, John. I'm good, man. I was one of the 82,000 people that were down there for Game 5. I saw you and Tom Sutton, and I was trying to get down to see you, but the ushers were really rigid that night. Except apparently for one person, but they were. I tried to get down. I tried to get down there to see you. So I'm going to. I'm targeting Game 4. So maybe if you're down there for that, I could. Just make you check it out. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Shout out to Tom Sutton. I went with Tom Sutton at Coach's Tavern. Great time, Todd. It was. I'll look for you in Game 4.
I can see it. I just couldn't. I couldn't get through the. Couldn't get through the motor tape that the band sent out.
Gotcha.
So, I would. This is just a shout out to the station, and I'll be honest with this. I was kind of skeptical. The morning show in the 3-man booth, I was skeptical about how effective it's been, but I want to give everybody a big compliment at the station. I think it's been very good and very smooth, and Jeff's a great pilot, and he lets the two very knowledgeable people know that do stuff, do their talking, and so I was skeptical, but I think it's been a great show so far. So I just wanted to throw that in. Yeah. So
well, listen, and Jeff will love to hear that, Todd. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's it, buddy. I'll look for you in the near future, my friend.
You got it, Todd. Thank you, man. I'll look for you coming up next week, hopefully. Let me get to Chris on Anything Goes. Hello, Chris.
Hey, Chris, or John, I haven't talked to you in a while. Hey, I think I missed something with our defensive coordinator for the Colts. Didn't he have the worst defense last year, and no one's scrutinizing and getting him? I think I've been hearing good things. What's going on there?
Yeah. I think we've certainly been on that. Their defense he got fired in Cincinnati because of the lack of defense. But people have suggested the reason why the defense was bad was because they did not retain players. They let players walk, and it wasn't the same. And I mean, we'll see. We shall see, but that is definitely an argument that we have talked about regarding that particular choice, yes.
All right. Well, then I just haven't been paying attention. My bad, John. Well, hey, good to talk to you again. Have a great weekend.
Yep. You got it, Chris. Thank you very much. The Kentucky Oaks running right now in what is one of the sloppier tracks you will ever see. That thing looks like a muddy, wet mess right now, too. Hey, Renz, is your horse winning? Oh, no. Renz is not going to cash a ticket again right here. I want to thank everybody, Tony and Gabe here at Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. And I'm going to see you at Alamo, Draft House, Cinema, Cinco de Mayo, West Side coming up on Monday. Please, everybody come out there and join me. We're going to have a blast. The Dallara Simulator, absolutely free for you. But in front of Game 1 on Sunday, Pacers Cavaliers will re-rack our conversation with Pacer GM Chad Buchanan earlier this week. So, Chad, I'm going to leave it up to you. Normally, I get about 20 minutes to absolutely go off on stuff, to talk about stuff, to describe stuff. I didn't really have the words to do it, so I call upon you to do it. Have you ever seen anything like what we witnessed at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Game 5 last night?
I'm not sure what you're talking about. What are you referring to?
I'm sorry. Were you watching Quincy last night? I'm sorry. Did I take you away from that?
What an incredible night. I mean, from, like you mentioned, how it started to where it finished and everything in between, and just this series as a whole has been, to top it off last night with the win was such a great moment for our franchise and our organization and all of our fans. So it was a great day to wake up this morning and take my kids to school. I know that.
Yeah. Speaking of waking up, why did it seem that it took so long for the Pacers to wake up? It was funny because I heard Rick on with the morning show, and Rick had said, hey, remind everybody it's a 6 o'clock start. And I came on in the afternoon and said, you know what? You watch this team all season long. You're big fans. If you needed reminded about when this game starts in the playoffs and an elimination game against the Bucks in the first round, then I'll just bring a tack hammer over to your house and remind you that way. Yet it kind of seemed like that the team that needed that reminder, it was the Pacers in quarter number 1. What was that? It was more what the Bucks were doing or more about what the Pacers at that moment were not?
I think that Milwaukee came out very physical guarding the ball, number one, which really established and dictated, how they were going to play and compete. You never know. A team has their back against the wall. You just never know. Are they going to come out with fight, or are they going to come out and just kind of go through the motions? And I think we saw last night they were not going to go down without a fight. And they got guys who been on championship teams over there on the other side, and they had a lot of pride, and they were going to come into our building and try to take one. And they had one of their teammates go down the last game, and I think they had a lot of emotion, that they were playing with as well. And we weren't ready to match it at the beginning of the game, quite frankly. I think our guys were hoping that it'd be easy, and it wasn't. And they punched us in the mouth, and fortunately we responded. Thanks. Our bench really kind of got us back into it, and our starters took it from there and closed it out for us.
Now, he's the Pacer general manager, Chad Buchanan. Sunday is game number 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals in Cleveland, the Cavaliers and the Pacers. More on that in just a second. I am curious. I thought last night was in full detail, Chad. You and I have talked about this. You know where I stand about putting this thing back together or running it back, and how in favor of this I was, and how I love the team concept, and I think how this Pacer team epitomizes that. I thought last night was really one of the greatest examples we have seen about the team concept and the quality these individuals on that bench have. as to how they came from behind and won that game, because it wasn't just one hurdle, Chad, they got over. It just kept coming and coming. They'd put themselves in a good spot and then fall back and do it again and then fall back. To me, across the board, you really can single out nearly everybody and said that person had a hand in winning that game and moving on to the postseason, and that to me is the team concept and quality we've been talking about.
You are spot on with that. I think every player, and Coach Carlisle mentioned this in the locker room, everybody on that team who got on the floor last night made some sort of contribution that got us back into that game and kept us in that game. And, you know, they had some hellacious shot making going on by Gary Trent and A.J. Green last night that kind of could have been knockout punches for us. And, you know, you mentioned the continuity of this group. They stick together through tough times. And we had tough times the first 25 games of the year. We're not going to lie. That was a tough start to the season, and you know we have a tough start to the game last night, but because of the familiarity and the trust in each other and the belief in how we play and what we do, that we could come back and get back into that game and ultimately close it out. But you can't say enough good things about anybody who comes off the bench in the NBA. It's challenging because you never know when you're going to get called into the game. You never know what matchup maybe the other team's going to have on the floor when you get in there, and you've got to get in there and try and produce and be a spark and maybe some limited minutes. And to the credit to so many guys who came off the bench last night, you know, it was great to see TJ obviously have a huge impact.
Yeah.
Because he beats himself up after, you know, games where he feels like he doesn't perform as well as he thinks he can. And he almost always bounces back. And, you know, he shined last night for us, as did several other guys coming off the bench and filling a role. And we've got so many guys who embrace their role, which is so important. You know, it's easy to want to be, you know, the marquee guy, the feature guy that, you know, the coach is running plays for, and you're getting a lot of touches, and, you know, but we have so many guys who embrace what they're asked to do, and there's so many selfless people in that locker room, and it showed last night because you watch our bench gets just excited no matter who's on the court. If it's the guy in front of you is making a play, you're up cheering. If it's the guy behind you is making a play, you're up cheering, and that's a selfless team, and that's exactly what we have with this group.
You know, what's funny about that is I bring up the quality of this group, and that certainly is the top level of a quality, and it is difficult to come by, not just in general in professional basketball, but professional sports and, you know, the whole trickle-down thing, the whole quality of, you know, understanding your role, your gig, and then doing it. You know, so many times you just kind of lean on somebody, hey, this person will get the job done, but it seems like with this group, Chad, everybody has an individual job that they have to perform. And I think throughout this series, there may be moments when things weren't going right for them, but for the most part, I think you can look at everybody did their job, and that's what makes this a team, and that's what makes this as good a team as you're going to find across the NBA landscape, and really something that you don't see very often any longer at the NBA level.
Yeah, and it may be a cliche, but I know teams talk about culture and character, but I think it really defines the character of each guy in our team, that they're willing to embrace whatever they're asked to do to help the team win and help it to be successful. And credit to our coaches for identifying what each player can do to help the team win. And, you know, our scouting staff goes through, and that's, you know, when we add a player to the team, they want to know character. They want to know what they're made of. Are they going to be about the team? Are they going to be about themselves? Are they going to be able to accept, you know, a lesser role than maybe they've accustomed to in the past? And our coaches have done a fantastic job of building an identity with this group and getting everybody to buy into what we need them to do to be successful. And it's not going to be pretty every night. I mean, we're going to have nights where it doesn't click, but that's the nature of playing 82 games. It's a marathon, and I think it's easy to get down on your team when you have a bad week or so. But if you believe in the character and the fiber of what each person is about, then good things can happen if you stick with it and you persevere, and that's what this group has done.
It's Chad Buchanan, Pacers general manager, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Pacers game 1 in Cleveland coming up on Sunday. More on that in just a second. So down 7, 40 seconds remaining. I know around me, when I was there, I don't sit too far away from you. I saw some of the reaction from the fans, and some that decided to bail. Others didn't. What were you thinking about the circumstances at that moment before we witnessed what took place there, which was incredible?
Well, you know, you need a lot of things to go right for your team and a lot of things to go wrong for the other team to to have something happen like happened last night. And I think one thing that gets overlooked is I think back to what really helped us get over that hurdle. Them having to burn timeouts on multiple times trying to inbound the ball at the time doesn't seem like a big deal. But when you're left with 1.3 seconds on the clock to try to win a game and you don't have a timeout and you've got to go the full court, that essentially kind of won you the game with two plays, defensive possessions where you forced them to call a timeout because they couldn't inbound the ball. And it's little things like that. Obviously you see the great shot by Tyrese, the steal by Drew, the shot by Drew, all the things that happened. But it's the subtle things that added up to putting us in position to have a chance to win that game. But everything that needed to go right for us did, and unfortunately on Milwaukee's side, everything that probably needed to go wrong did for them. And we've been on the other end of heartbreaking losses too, so you know the feeling. But it's the great thing about sports, and anything can happen. I tell my son that all the time. He gets, he's playing second grade basketball and they're down by 8 points with 4 minutes left, and he thinks his dog's died. It's like you got to play till the final buzzer because you just never know. You just never know what can happen. You put the best athletes in the world out there on the floor, and things can happen that you don't expect to happen. That's what occurred last night.
There is a team in Cleveland that has had a spectacular season. We know that. Game 1's coming up on Sunday in Cleveland. And what is interesting to me is in how so many ways a lot of the advantages we view the Pacers have against other teams, it seems like that Cleveland is right there in matchup quality and capability. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, they've had an outstanding season. Coach Atkinson has done a terrific job establishing their identity, the confidence that these guys play with, the confidence they shoot the ball with. And, he's found out a way to make their two big men play together and mesh together, and they've both had terrific seasons. And they're a load. I mean, they're an absolute load, to handle. And we're going to have our hands full, and our guys know that. They didn't win as many games as they did this year by luck. They didn't get on a hot streak. They were good from start to finish, and there's a reason you get this time of year. It's supposed to be hard. These games are supposed to be tough. These series are supposed to be tougher and tougher the further you get into them. And this is going to be an immense challenge for us. And they have home court advantage. So, but our guys, it's, hey, we got to go play. And, our guys aren't going to be afraid of anybody, but they know this is going to be a team you're going to play awfully well against to beat.
I know this is going to be the coach's decision. By the way, I talk about the coaching staff all the time because I think your coaching staff does a tremendous job of adjustments. And obviously, I'm not thinking that I'm not suggesting I'm smart and I'm making those adjustments too, but I think every single time they do something, you can understand why they felt compelled to make that call or do that, which is why I want to bring this up. So are we going with the defensive assignments, Miles versus Allen? Is it Andrew versus Mitchell? You're going to get who gets Mobley? Is it a Nesmith? Is it a Siakam? How's that going to work? Because I'm assuming that Tyrese gets Max Strus in this equation as well. Defensively, how do you view the start of this series with that in mind?
Yeah, I mean, I trust our coaches on what they feel is best. I mean, the two big, lineup is an interesting, matchup. Fortunately, Pascal has some versatility to guard, some fours and some fives. Miles obviously is better suited guarding a five, but
he gets Jared Allen away from the basket, so I like that. I didn't know because I thought Nesmith did one hell of a job when he had to guard Giannis, and I kind of wondered if maybe he would spend some time on Mobley in this series. Just kind of wondering.
Yeah, I mean, I think our coaches will probably look at mixing it up a little bit, seeing what has success and what doesn't. They're, like you mentioned, they're very, very smart at adapting to what's working and what's not working and trying to, make some adjustments in there. And that's part of a playoff series. You may try something in game one and, scrap it and go in a whole new different direction for game two, the more you see how it plays out on the floor. But, having two guards that can really create and score is a challenge for any team. And they have that in Garland and Donovan. And then they put a lot of shooting around them, which makes it, the spacing ideal for those two guards to go create. So it's going to put a lot of pressure on our individual defenders to guard and contain the ball and contain some guys that can really get it going with their shooting and their penetration. And if you can do that, you have a chance. But it's a big challenge with both of those guys because they're both all-star caliber players.
You want me to run over this week and get these guys through practice on controlled closeouts on shooters? Controlled contests, something like that. You guys need that? I can come over if you guys need me.
That's not in your job description, I don't think. I think it's kind of knowing your role, John. You got to know where your role is.
I'm just
talked about that earlier.
I'm just gonna roll over there and say, okay, hand down, man down. Just remember that, okay? And you don't need to fly by into the front row or anything like that. Just a controlled contest. But if you need me,
easier said than done. Easier said than done.
I know. I go to these games. One of the reasons why I love going is seeing these guys and how athletic they are is absolutely stinking ridiculous. For somebody that loves basketball as much as me, I watch in awe of really everybody because it is so athletic, so fast. It's incredible. Every time I go, it really is very enjoyable.
It is. It is. It's a joy to have this job and to watch these guys and root for them. And I hear you. I love basketball just as much as you. And sometimes I get caught up last night, and obviously you're stressed out about the game, but to sit there and take in that moment and be happy for your guys and your coaches, and there's nothing better, man. There's nothing better.
Yep. Pace of play. I thought second quarter was incredibly important. You hold them to 17 after you score, 15 or 13 or whatever on your own in the first. And then T.J. McConnell, he was huge. And that second half, really. Fourth quarter, huge. And that's team ball right there. That's what everybody loves about this squad, and that's what you witnessed last night in that closeout.
Absolutely. I mean, how can you not be happy for TJ and seeing him come in there and be a huge spark when we really, really needed it? I mean, and he felt it. He knew, like, hey, this is my moment. This team needs me badly right now, and I'm going to go out and get it done. And for him, obviously he's very competitive, wants to do well every single second he's on the floor, and takes a lot of pride in being a spark for us. And man, was he ever last night. Super, super thrilled for him.
He was. All right, if you need me, let me know when you guys have practice. I'll come down because I'm going to ring that bell, I think, later on this week too. So let me know when you're ready. All right?
You got it, my man.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it. Congratulations on round number 1.
Thank you. Thank you to our fans too. They were awesome that series. We need them again next round.